You all should be aware that Mark is up in Denver and going to be there for a while. So I'll be leading the class tonight. If you don't know me, I'm Randy Hodges. I'm the president of CSFOA right now, which means I'm an area director for CFOA. So I'm one of the area directors of CFOA for Area 3. And Kaylinda Bunnell is the other area director. And some of you may or may not know Kaylinda. But before we get started, are there any questions about where we are right now, or what's going on with CHASA and CFOA and testing and all that kind of stuff? Yeah.
I was on vacation 4 days. I noticed I had an email about the Harrison scrimmage that I missed. So I wasn't sure what was going on with that.
So that scrimmage is this Friday, and you got an invitation to it. If you can work it, then you just accept the assignment. If you can't work it, then you decline it.
I believe it already got pulled away. It already got taken away.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get to see it in my queue. I just seen what was already out.
So you didn't decline it?
I didn't get a chance to accept or decline it.
Okay. I'll talk to Scott and see if we can get you. Can you work it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll talk to Scott because we want to get new people on that scrimmage.
Okay.
Not that you're brand new, but we do want to get you on that scrimmage if we can. So.
Can you send me one too? Because I finally got arbiters. They finally got that to me yesterday.
They did.
Finally, she
Well,
was on
congratulations.
But
She came back from vacation.
Yeah, she was on that whole week.
Yeah, Monica can be hard to get a hold of.
So I need an invite for Friday.
Hey Bruce, can you check your name off on the list over here just to make sure we got you? And there's Jeremy Darter, the man, the legend. I'm going to send Scott a note right now just so I don't forget. Did anybody else? Oh yeah, so Brett, right? So Brett, can you work it? Anybody can work that. Seeing plays is 10 times better than watching a play, talking about a play or watching a film. Just seeing the snaps, seeing the live action. So if you can do that before you get started, it really helps.
Are they already practicing?
Oh, yeah. The teams?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Randy and I went to a camp this past weekend at the University of Northern Colorado. Spent a couple days together, and we have 8 or 9 teams up there.
I think there was 10.
10. So we had Valor, which is 6A, but we also had a couple of 1A schools, Niwot, Sterling. So Arvada West.
And does that, if they're got a scrimmage, how they've been going for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, in fact, man, they ended the camp last night before we left for the goal line situation. They put the teams on the 2, and best man stayed, losing man left. So you want to talk about 20 minutes of intensity, and I had Valor and Arvada West, and they did not like each other. Let's just put it that way. So, but it was super fun, and in the future, if you guys ever see those camps come across your email from CSFOA, there's a lot. They're long, but there's a great way to see a lot of plays, a lot of snaps, like Randy alluded to, and there's a lot of great information exchanged. So you get to learn from a lot of different officials from across the state. So, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any more left this year before the season starts, but and as a first-year official, you'd sort of be like, you'd probably feel a little out of place. But after you've got a year under your belt, I would highly, highly recommend going to one of the camps that CFOA puts on. There's also a Rocky Mountain Rocky Mountain Camp, but they bring in college officials, and they're super intense. You gotta have a thick skin to do some of those camps, but the CFOA ones are designed for people that are first, second, third year. And then like Jeremy goes to a camp, almost every year, and he's in his 10th year, but he's just one of those guys that wants to keep learning and pick up new stuff. And I went as an instructor, and I learned 3 or 4 things that I didn't know before. So
Me too.
it's a great opportunity. So Michael Johnson, did you come to watch or did you come to pick up your packet?
Both.
Okay.
Which one do you want me to do?
I want you to stay, if you can. If you can stay for a little while and then leave, make sure you don't forget your packet.
I'll take it.
Okay. Michael's got a son that's in the Junior Olympics in track. And he's getting ready to go off to the Junior Olympics, so that's cool. Did they get those running jeans from their mother?
Yes.
They must have.
What events?
Michael's my back judge, so I know it. I know they didn't get it from him.
No. They got all of them on.
All right, any other questions about where we are right now and what's coming up? Next week is very important. You all know about the draft on the 29th. So it's next Tuesday. It's not here. It's at the church that hopefully you have the address to and everything. The Westside Global Methodist Church. So make sure you can get to that. If you can't make it to that, then just make sure that we know about it. And we'll use your questionnaire as sort of the means to communicate to the crew chiefs. Because what they're primarily going to be asking you about is what's your experience level, if you have any, and what's your availability for games. Because as a crew chief, a guy that's got 10 years of experience and says, well, I'm only available on Wednesdays, doesn't do him a whole lot of good, right? We're looking for people that can, that can work, games during the week. Most of you won't be working Friday nights, obviously, because those are varsity games. But Saturdays, Thursdays, some Wednesdays, actually no Wednesdays, Tuesdays. Our Park and Rec season just got canceled. Park and Rec didn't get enough signups to run a season for the first time in I don't know how long. But they lost all of their middle school to us this year. They used to run the middle school for District 11, and this year they split. They took all that out of Park and Rec and they put it with the other middle schools. And so we worked the games either way, but they took them away from Park and Rec, and so they didn't end up with enough signups to make a season. So we were looking forward to being able to putting some of you on, 3rd grade through 6th and 7th and 8th grade games. You'll still have opportunities to do the 7th and 8th, but there won't be any 3rd through 6th. So it is what it is. There's nothing really we can do about it. But so anyway, just making sure that you're available for that draft and being available as much as you can. If you're not available and you don't want to work that much, or you just can't get off of work for certain things, that's totally okay. Just know that that's going to lower your stock in the minds of most of the crew chiefs who are looking for people that can work games. We've got a lot of games we've got to cover. So the more you can make yourself available, the more valuable you are to the crew chiefs. And then Friday we've got the scrimmage. So I know a lot of you are signed up for that scrimmage. If you aren't signed up for it and you can get to that, then I would highly recommend it. Yeah.
I am signed up for it. We got a spill on the western slope, so I'm gonna try to move some stuff around because I gotta go out there and do an inspection.
Okay.
If I can make it, I'll make it. But if I can't, then I'll miss it. But I'm gonna try. my
When
best.
could you know for sure that you can or can't?
Say Tuesday. I will know Thursday.
Okay.
So I'll send you an email Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also involved in a couple other officiating opportunities. you know, obviously your games with CSFOA take precedent, but if you guys are looking to do some more snaps, talk to me offline and I'll share that information with you.
Is that the Pop Warner? Or?
Yeah, Pop Warner, and there's also some flag stuff that I do. And in fact, because the city of Colorado Springs canceled their 11-man season, they may be looking to do some youth flag on Saturday evenings. They would be paid. It's not quite 11-man football, but nonetheless, see a little bit of the passing game maybe. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. But yeah, if you guys want more information, talk to me offline, and I kind of share, you know, other things I have going on.
What's that league?
What's that?
What's the league?
So yeah, there's a Pop Warner, which is 11-man youth league. Those here in the city, they do some games down in Pueblo as well. Those are on Saturdays. Again, your CFFO games take precedent, but if you want to work another game after that. And then the potential youth flag league for the city on Saturday evenings. Those details still need to be worked out. They just reached out to me today. And then if you're really a glutton for punishment, I run the adult flag football league for the city for on Sunday morning. So I'm always looking for a couple of officials to come out there. It's a very competitive league. I have a lot of the semi-pro guys out there. They are adults, so you know you got to have a little bit of thick skin. But as far as the athleticism, some of the passing game that you see out at that league is pretty impressive. So, I mean, as far as getting your eyes and seeing plays and seeing, you know, some pretty good, especially football at the wide receiver and defensive back level. But yeah, we even have some offensive linemen out there. Anyways, yeah, I don't want to take too much time on this, but yeah, if you guys have more questions.
What
hit me
flag
up.
league is that?
What's that?
What flag league is that?
The one at John Benizia, the
Okay.
one that's ran through the through the city of Colorado Springs.
Over with Fox and them?
With Fox and them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I run all those guys out there, so yeah. Yep, Fox and them.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to take a look at Rule 9 and Rule 10 tonight. So really, most of Rule 10 is about penalty enforcement, and we're not going to expect you to do a whole lot of penalty enforcement, except for David as a white hat. Most of your white hats are going to handle penalty enforcement, but penalty enforcement is a crew responsibility, so you should know penalty enforcement, but there's a lot of nuances involved in it, and getting that down takes a lot of reps and it takes a lot of study. So we don't expect you to be able to do penalty enforcement, but we're going to talk through it and tell you what, as a wing official or maybe as an umpire, what you need to report when you have a foul and you've got a flag down, what you need to report to your white hat so that he or she can properly enforce the penalty. Okay. So jumping into Rule 9, we're just, you know, basically this is a scrimmage formation. You've got your offense on this side. There's a lot of restrictions, obviously, associated with the offense. The defense on the other side, they both have a line of scrimmage, right? And the neutral zone is the length of the football, so they each have a neutral zone. The defense can basically go anywhere they want, and they can do anything they want. They can move as much as they want. With some restrictions, the offense is pretty set. So there's a lot of rules about where they can line up and where they can't line up, and who can move and who can lift a hand, and you know, once they touch the ball and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things to be aware of as an official as to what that offense can and can't do. So we're going to talk about a lot of that. It just, for most of the games you work, there isn't going to be a press box, but if there is a press box, the chains are always going to be opposite that press box, right? With some exceptions. There are some stadiums where the home team wants to be on the press box side, or they want to be opposite of where they would normally be. And usually it's to get away from their parents, honestly. They want to get away from the home side crowd. So let's go ahead and move on. So every play other than a free kick starts with what? A snap, right? Okay, so snapping the ball starts every play. This is a rule right here that I see 25, 30, 40-year officials get wrong. Because they all say the snapper cannot pick up the ball. That is not true, and everybody thinks it's true. And they'll tell centers, they'll tell snappers, don't pick up the ball. Okay, they can pick up the ball for lateral rotation, so they can pick the ball up and spin it so that they get the laces the way they want it. Now, if you get a seasoned umpire, he's going to know the center, he's going to know the snapper, and he's going to know which way he wants the laces facing, so when he puts the ball down, he doesn't have to move it. But the snapper can pick the ball up and rotate it laterally. He can't flip it around end for end. He can't pick it up and toss it. He can't do any of that. He can pick it up, rotate it to get the laces, and put it back down on the ground. Once he's done that, now he can't pick the ball up again, all right? And he can't adjust it. He can't do anything with it. The only thing he can do after that is snap the ball, okay? So I just always like to point that out because everybody thinks it's a foul to pick the ball up, and it's not. Following the ready for play. So when is the ready for play? Do you guys remember how ready for play gets marked?
When the referee sets the ball down and backs up.
Well, that would be the umpire, but yeah, so if one of the officials spots the ball and backs up, that's a ready for play. Okay, what's the other way? Okay, the referee blows the whistle, and he'll do that usually after an administrative stoppage, change of possession, that kind of thing. So those are the two things that we get ready for play. So once there's a ready for play, the snapper can't remove both hands from the ball. So if he goes down, puts both hands on the ball, and then lifts one off, is that a foul? No.
Because he's still got maintaining the ball.
He can't remove both hands, okay? If he goes down with one hand and puts his hand on the ball and then takes his hand off, is that a foul?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay, most of the time you won't call that if you're a wing. The umpire should be watching that, but that is a foul, okay? Can't make any movements that simulate this. Oh,
Yeah, one more. Okay, two hands on the ball, pulls the left hand off, points, left hand back on, right hand off, points. Is that legal?
I think so, because he's maintaining control of the
He
ball.
still has contact with the ball.
Yeah. Always had one hand on the ball, even though both hands came off. He always had one hand on it, so it's legal.
good. All right. Can't make any movement that simulates a snap. So you'll see centers go down, touch the ball, and then they're pointing like this. They'll point out blocking, right? They can do all that. They can turn their body. They can turn and look. They can do all kinds of stuff. As soon as they do anything that is jerky, simulates a snap, that's going to be a foul. Again, most of the time the umpires are going to be seeing that. They have to pause before they can snap it. So the snapper can't walk up to the ball, go down on it, boom, and snap it right away. There's got to be a pause, just like everybody else. There's got to be a 1 second pause in there.
I got a question.
Yep.
So, let's say we're near the end of half. Teammate doesn't have any timeouts. We had a first down, and so clock stopped because of a first down.
Mm-hmm.
And the teammate gets up to the ball, they're set. They're just waiting for the official to give that subdued whistle to wind the clock,
Mhm.
all ready for play.
Mhm.
And as soon as they hear that whistle, they snap it. Is that
Right.
legal?
No.
So you got an RFP, right? So your whistle, is that ready for play?
Yeah.
There has to be a clear pause
Okay.
before they can snap it. So that's really what we're looking for.
Well, I mean, to be clear with this scenario, that's a first down inbounds.
Yeah.
So there is no ready for play whistle. The ball
It's
is
a
ready
line.
for play when the ball is set. So once that ball is set, the umpire's getting out of the way, and then the offense can come to the line of scrimmage, pause for a moment, and then snap.
It could be if there was an administrative stoppage, but yeah, on a normal first down, where the clock is stopped for the first down,
Yeah.
it's gonna wind, and it's gonna be ready for play as soon as the ball's set down.
We would not have a whistle in that scenario.
You don't have a whistle when you have a first down main to let
Nope.
the offense know when the clock's winding?
No, we have a silent wind, so that's gonna be different. That's gonna be different for you coming from, and it was different for all of us 5 years ago.
I think it was like 7 or 8.
Yeah, so that was a major rule change. When we went to the 40-second play clock, they got rid of the whistle on the ready for play on most plays. Most plays, there is no whistle, there's nothing from the referee. On a first down, the clock's gonna stop as soon as the umpire has the ball, and he doesn't even have to have it on the ground, we're gonna wind, okay? So that's gonna be different for you.
Generally, there's a couple exceptions to this, but generally, if there's a 40-second play clock on the play, there's no ready for play whistle.
Okay.
Yeah. That took all of us a while to get used to that one, but once you do, it's like, yeah, this is great, I love it.
Well, I'm just curious in this, and I hate to belabor on this because I know it's a rare occurrence, but coach for Team A, is he's just gonna give an audible signal or something to his quarterback to snap the ball when he sees that the clock's winding?
If the ball's on the ground, it's live and ready to go.
He can go.
They don't have to wait on us for anything.
Except for you gotta wait for the umpire to put the ball down.
Well, that's the
back up.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Because they can't snap it till the ball's on the ground.
Yeah.
And they've got to wait for that umpire to back out of the way.
So is it just Team A is under the understanding that when the umpire backs away from the ball, they can go?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
they know.
And it is rare, but you will see teams that are that good to where they can line up and get ready to go.
Seen several.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that many here in Colorado, but like, probably the best one I know of is like a team like Lutheran, right?
So I already talked about this one, following the adjustment, the snapper can't do anything else with it. Encroachment, so in high school, there's no offsides, okay? So don't call offsides, all right? It's encroachment on either team, offense or defense. Most of the time, encroachment on the offense is going to be a false start. The only way we're going to have encroachment on the offense is if a player lines up in the neutral zone, okay? Do we want to throw flags on guys that line up in the neutral zone? Most of the time not. We're going to try and back them up, okay? But if they're just out there and they're way beyond the ball and they're not moving, okay, kill it, throw your flag, call the encroachment. Defense is basically the same way, okay? If they jump into the neutral zone, they don't have an opportunity to get back before the snap like they do at the higher levels, all right? Once they break that neutral zone, it's a foul, it's dead ball foul, we're gonna kill the play, throw the flag. If they're lined up in the neutral zone on defense, let's try and get them back, especially at the levels that you're gonna be officiating. Try and get them back, talk them back, even if you can let them go a play or two. Talk to the coaches, go talk to the umpire and tell them, hey, the right defensive tackle is lining up in the neutral zone, get him back. Okay, we're gonna try and, what we don't wanna do is call a whole bunch of non-moving encroachment fouls, okay? Those are really bad because they happen too often and they just slow the game down. All right, and we just don't want to be that ticky-tack. So you're going to hear people say, "Isn't he offsides?" No, he's not. There is no such thing. And you're going to hear people say, "He got back before the snap." Okay, there is no "he got back before the snap." In high school, it's encroachment. All right, and then false start is just anything on the offensive side of the ball that simulates a snap or makes it look like the play's starting. And it can be on any player, all right? Can the defense false start?
They can move around.
Can the defense false start?
No.
No, the defense cannot false start. Okay, what the defense can do, and I think that there's actually, we're going to talk about this specifically, but if they run up and they do something like that and it makes an offensive player flinch, that's a foul on the defense. But it's not a false start, it's a disconcerting act. Okay, so there's a difference.
And
Okay.
that's a dead ball.
It is a dead ball, yep. All right, there's a video, so I don't know if we want to watch that or not, but let's take a look at it. Okay, so the two players on the right side jump. You did see a little bit of defensive movement, but if this guy went in the neutral zone and those two guys false started, what do you think we should do with that?
Penalty on the defense.
I call that encroachment.
Right. Well, if we both made the foul, wouldn't be an offset on it.
Yeah, but part of the game is blitzing, and when they're trying.
Did this guy's movement make those two guys jump?
No.
No.
How do you differentiate from somebody trying to time the snap and somebody trying to get a rise out of the offense?
That's why you get the big bucks, to discern that. You've got to determine whether or not that blitzing person got into the neutral zone before the snap or not. And if he was trying to draw the defense off, there is nothing illegal about coming up to the line and trying to time the snap.
Yeah.
It's if you're running up, and your sole purpose is to draw the offense off sides, okay, or into a false start.
Hey, Randy.
Now, here's my
He's
question.
wanting his book.
So that right defensive end that you're talking about right there, number 45,
Mhm. Yep.
he gets in the neutral zone from what I can tell. And as
Well-
soon as he got in the neutral zone in that act, that ought to be now dead ball encroachment.
Right, but it's also a false start, which is a dead ball.
Well,
Why is that disconcerting to you?
Well, it's just.
Who knows the
Well, so-
snap count?
I don't think he's arguing disconcerting. I think he's just arguing it should be encroachment.
Well, but why wouldn't it be a false start?
Well, that's,
looks like the
that's what I've just got to adjust to because,
So here's my philosophy, and we talked about this weekend at the camp. There's a lot of times when you do have encroachment and you've got a false start, okay? You could technically say those offset, but here's my philosophy. Who knows the snap count? The offense. So if the offense goes and false starts and the defense encroaches, I'm going to put it on the offense because they knew the snap count, and if they foul at the same time, I'm going to say that the offense should have known the snap count and not false started before that defensive player got into the neutral zone. All right? You can hear disagreement on that, and there will be disagreement on that. Different guys will say different things. My philosophy is if they both happen at the same time and it's not discernible which one happened first, I'm always going to go against the offense because the offensive players knew the snap count. All right? And if this was the guy that flinched, if this player right here was the one that came into the neutral zone, then I might say, okay, his movement into the neutral zone drew the other two players off, and therefore we can have an encroachment, right? But those two players didn't go into the neutral zone. All right, the only person that might have gone into the neutral zone is this player down here. Those other two guys didn't. So there's some judgment. There's a lot of judgment involved there, but that's kind of what we're looking for. All right.
And Randy, you talked about, we call these when in doubts.
now, I got another quick question though. So in the scenario you're talking about, I'm guessing that it's the line judge because it's probably
Yep.
from the press box side. He shouldn't have thrown his flag.
But yeah.
So I'd agree. Yes, he shouldn't have thrown his flag.
Because he's fishing in somebody else's pond.
I agree.
But he also passed on that.
He also passed on the encroachment.
Yeah,
And he has the best view of the encroachment.
Well, that's what I mean. Because he came up doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's giving the signal for a false
Right.
start.
So what he's saying, if we look at that, can you bring that back up?
Yep. Yep.
So just go ahead and pause it. So if players on this side of the line false start, or if you get an encroachment on this side of the line, we do not want this official throwing the flag, okay? And he said the term that we always love to say, don't fish in someone else's pond. That is up to that far wing, that other wing official to call the stuff on his side, and you've got this side, all right, if you're on this wing. There's very few times where you're going to make a call that's clear across the field, and most of the time it's safety related. We want to keep our eyes on the things that we are responsible for, and not be throwing flags on things that we're not responsible for. Because we are not responsible. If I'm this line judge, I am not responsible for those players over there. So I shouldn't even be looking at them. You might see it, but don't call it. All right? Okay. All right. So the line of scrimmage, we've talked about the line of scrimmage. How many lines of scrimmage are there? How many lines of scrimmage are there?
Physically?
Each
There's-
one has.
Are you talking about lines of
their
scrimmage
line.
or neutral zone?
Lines of scrimmage.
Two.
So,
Well, the offense has their line to line up and the defense has their line to line up.
right, so on either side of the neutral zone, which is the length of the football, there's a line of scrimmage. Okay, so most of the time we just talk about the line of scrimmage, but there's actually two lines of scrimmage. There's a defensive line of scrimmage and an offensive line of scrimmage, and the gap in between is the neutral zone. Okay? So when players are lining up, the snapper is the only person that can have a body part in the neutral zone and be legal, because they have to have their hand in the neutral zone, and most of the time their helmet is going to be in the neutral zone. It may even be beyond the neutral zone. All right? It's just part of the nature of that, and it's part of the rule that says that he's the one player that can have body parts in the neutral zone. Where everyone else lines up is sort of in relationship to that snapper. Is to be considered a lineman. What's the condition to be considered a lineman on the offensive side of the ball?
Waist.
You have to break the snapper's waist.
You have to break the plane of the snapper's waist with your head or a foot, right? So a lot of times you'll see those tackles, and the center's over there, and they're back like this, and they're clearly behind that waist of that snapper. We want to get a good look at that, and potentially we can call, we can have an illegal formation because they don't have 5 players on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so all these linemen right here have to be breaking the waist of that snapper. There has to be 5. And they all have to be numbered what? 50 to 79. Okay, so there's an exception to that. There's a numbering exception on 4th down and in scrimmage kick formations, but we're not going to get too much into that. Okay. So then, to be a back, what do you have to be? Where do you have to be?
Be in the back. You have to be off behind the line.
So what's the demarcation for what makes you a back versus a lineman?
Alignment, please. 5 yards back. Otherwise-
You're not a lineman,
So if you're not a lineman,
you're a back.
you're a back, right? But there's this thing in here called no man's land, which means I'm not a lineman because my helmet isn't breaking the waist of the snapper, but I'm not in the backfield because I am breaking the plane of the nearest lineman to me. Okay? So come up here for a second. Face that direction. So if he's a lineman and I'm a back and I'm lined up like this, am I a back? I'm in no man's land, right? So I'm technically not a back, and I'm technically not a lineman, because if I'm not breaking the waist of the snapper, I'm not a lineman, and I'm not a back because I'm on this right here. So to be technically a back, you need to not be breaking the waist of the nearest lineman to you. Okay? Now, you're going to see guys all the time line up in no man's land. Are we going to flag that? Most of the time, probably not, unless you just want to get in trouble. If you like trouble, then feel free to flag a guy that's lined up like a bat and goes downfield on a pass, all right? But technically, that no man's land is that's the definition of being in the backfield, is that you're not breaking the waist of the nearest lineman to you, okay? There's one player that's allowed to be in no man's land. Who is that? The quarterback, who is in position to take the direct snap from the snapper, right? Okay.
Josh is bringing up a point.
Okay.
So, the way I was taught this a long time ago, if you're looking at the formation, especially if you're a wing, and they're supposed to be on the line, make them on the line. They're close and they're supposed to be off the line, make them off the line.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things he's pointing out is you could have 3 receivers and all 3 of them on the same side, and all 3 of them are on the line. And there's nothing wrong with that unless they all go out for a pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is no illegal formation for having too many guys on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. And
They can have all their players on the line of scrimmage, including the quarterback. You probably have a muffed backward pass at that point, right, if he snapped it. But you don't have to have any, there's no limit to the number of players you can have on the line of scrimmage. Now, if you have guys that are on the line of scrimmage that go downfield for a pass, who are the only eligible receivers on the line of scrimmage?
the ends.
The 2 ends, right? Everyone else is ineligible. So if any of those people that are covered by someone at the end of the line of scrimmage goes downfield for a pass play,
Unless it's caught behind the line of scrimmage, correct?
that's right.
Correct.
And we're going to talk about that when we're talking about that in order for that in order to have an ineligible person downfield, you have to have a legal forward pass that crosses the neutral zone. Okay? So we're going to get a little bit more into that, but that's true.
And just that, if you have this scenario, we kind of talked about this last week, communicate. You know, you're telling the players, I have all 3 of you on the line. And if they stay on the
Do you
line,
really want to do that?
yeah, just communicate it. You're not telling
Yeah,
them.
they will, because they know it's a run. They know it's a run, and they're fine with having more guys on the line of scrimmage, and they're not going to do a pass out of it. Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, so you can communicate that, and if they stay there and then they all go downfield and we get a pass that crosses the neutral zone, we got a flag.
Okay. Any other questions? Good question. I love questions, as long as we don't go down rabbit holes. Okay, so the scrimmage formation and rules for Team A. So like I said, there's virtually no restrictions on Team B. For Team A, there's a lot of restrictions. Okay, so the first one is on the snapper. When the snapper comes up to the ball and becomes when does he become the snapper? When he touches the ball, okay? There is no snapper until somebody touches the ball. A lot of times when we refer to a person as a center, that's usually the snapper, but not always. It doesn't have to be, all right? So as soon as someone touches the ball, he's the snapper, all right? The snapper has to be facing the opponent's goal line, okay? Now, that's there for a reason, and that is that if I'm facing this way but we're going this direction, I can't come up and be the snapper and be turned like this. I can't be sideways. Usually when you're going to get that is in a swinging gate formation or something when they're on a try, when they line up the snapper and a quarterback, and then they've got a bunch of guys lined out this way and a bunch of guys lined out that way. And that snapper will make a decision to either snap to the quarterback or he'll snap it wide to the bunch that's over to his left or something and snap. And they can do that, but he has to be facing the opponent's goal line, okay? The leeway that we're going to give him is about 45 degrees, okay? So if he's turned like this, if I'm going this way and I line up like this and I come down and put my hand on the ball, that's okay. Okay, we're going to let that go. If he's facing completely sideways, that is not legal, or that is not a legal formation. Okay?
If he's on that 45-degree angle snapping the ball, how does that affect the rest of the line, of the linesmen that have to be lined up with him?
They just have to be breaking his waist just like normal.
Okay.
Okay, the lineman,
Do you want to do this video all? Or?
well, let's do it at the end.
Okay.
So the lineman, head or foot must break the waist of the snapper. We talked about that. The back, no part of his body can break the waist of the nearest lineman. The one person that can be in no man's land is a quarterback. And no more than 4 players can be in the backfield at the snap. So we talked about there's no restriction on how many people can be on the line of scrimmage, but there is a restriction on how many people can be in the backfield. And we're going to call people that are in no man's land in the backfield for the purpose of this. Because in all my years, I've never heard somebody say that player was in no man's land. Okay? It just, you're either going to say he's on the line or you're going to say he's in the backfield. All right? So no more than 4 players can be in the backfield at the snap. So at the snap is really important here. All right? Because you can have 5 players, you can have all players in the backfield at some point, right? When they come out of the huddle, are all the players in the backfield? Yeah, they are, right? So they're breaking the huddle and coming up to the line is a shift. All right? So they're going to shift up to the line. They can have multiple people in the backfield. They can all step up to the line of scrimmage. It's when the ball's snapped. You can't have more than 4 in the backfield. You can have less than 4, but you can't have more than 4. Okay? So let's take a look at this snapper video.
I have a question.
Yeah.
On the scrimmage kick, is it the same?
We're going to talk about scrimmage kick in a little bit. But basically the rules are the same, but we have some numbering exceptions. Okay. Okay, so here we've got, so is that legal or not?
No, because he's not facing the defense.
Okay, is this a dead ball foul or is this a live ball foul?
Dead ball should be dead ball.
Sure, we should kill it.
It's an illegal snap, correct?
It's illegal formation.
Is it a legal snap or is it an illegal
It's
formation?
illegal formation, it's a line ball foul, because they have the chance to correct themselves.
That's right. That's an illegal formation, not an illegal snap. He didn't do anything with the ball. Now, if he jerks the ball or he doesn't, it's not one's continuous motion, then you'd have an illegal snap. But the act that's going on right here is an illegal formation.
What the hell kind of offense is that?
Yeah, it's probably a punt.
So another point about the snap. Does the snap have to go between the snapper's legs? No. So there's no requirement for that snap to go between his legs. He just has to be facing his goal line, or his goal line, the opponent's goal line, and he has to be at no more than 45-degree angle. Okay. We can talk wing mechanics on this if we want, but the point is, look at this guard right here. I touched the screen and it didn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Okay, so these guys right here, well, especially this player, do you think he's legal?
No, not legal.
It's kind of hard to tell from this angle. If you're right down the line, which you're going to be as a wing, you can look at that guy and you can see, does his helmet break the plane of the snapper's waist? The guy that's really in question probably is this player right here, because he's back even farther maybe than the other guy.
Which one?
This
The
left tackle.
But compared to the left guard that's next to him, he's okay. But I think the left guard's also off the line.
Could be.
Well-
Like I said, it's hard to tell from this angle.
So remember, to be on the line, you have to have your head or foot through the waist of the snapper. So even though if your head is in line with the waist of the guard, and not the snapper, you're not technically a lineman.
That doesn't count. So his feet are definitely not breaking the waist of the snapper. His head might be. Again, feet, his head might be. But this is something that you're looking for as a wing. When you're looking down the line and you're looking at how many people are in the backfield, you're looking for stuff like this where these guys are in the backfield and they're not linemen, okay? By definition, by rule, they're not linemen. Are you going to call that in 7th and 8th grade? Probably not, unless they're doing it play after play after play and you told the coach, get your guys back, get your guys back. Then you flag them, then they go, oh, okay, they're serious, they're going to call this, so I'm going to move my lineman up. Most of the time, they're not going to do this unless they're 12-year-olds and they do that kind of thing, right? But where you're going to see that, a lot of that is at the upper levels. You're going to see Valor Christian and you're going to see Pine Creek, and those 280, 300-pound deep tackles are going to be in their pass blocking formation, so that they can get here and they can start their block, right? So again, even at the varsity level, I'm going to tend to tell my coach, your tackle is not lining up on the line of scrimmage. You got to get him up, all right? And I may give him one warning, but if he keeps doing it, he's definitely gaining an advantage. The reason he's lining up like that is to gain an advantage, to be able to get out and pass block, okay? So that's why we're not going to create a whole lot of sympathy on that, especially at the upper levels, because they are gaining an advantage.
And the umpire would call that.
An umpire?
For the white hat would call that in the middle.
No.
The umpire's not going to call, or none of the guys in the middle are going to call that because they can't tell where their heads are. So that's going to be a wing call as to whether or not those guys are in the backfield.
Looks like there's only 3 on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and you'll see punt formations. We've got video of punt formations where there's 8 guys in the backfield, literally. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Now, before we leave that, because I just want to make sure I'm understanding about rules on linemen, because I thought it was saying that if you're a lineman, you've got to be breaking the plane of the waist of an adjacent lineman.
No, the snapper.
Snapper.
For the lineman, it's the snapper. For a back, you can't be breaking the waist of the nearest lineman.
Okay.
Okay. Good question. Is video 2? Yeah, okay, so this is the actual play right here. Back, probably a back. So this formation right here is not legal, and it should be flagged. You can't have all these guys in the backfield because the defense doesn't know who's eligible and who they need to cover. Okay, so there's a couple of problems with this. So maybe these guys are in the backfield, and that guy's the tight end. Which, if those guys were in the backfield and that was the tight end, then he would be eligible by position. I can't see his number, but you can't have all these guys in the backfield because you got an illegal formation. Okay. All right.
One more video.
Okay, just to start off with, how many guys are in the backfield?
Oops.
Wonder so many.
Is that like a CI test video snapshot? How quickly can we determine it? 5.
Okay, so can you pause that? All right, so as a wing, as the teams break their formation and they start to come to the line of scrimmage, you're going to pick out the players that are on the line of scrimmage and in the backfield. And you want to start processing that as quickly as you can, so that you're not at the last second trying to go, I don't know how many guys are in the backfield. So if they came out and they lined up in this formation right here, I'd be looking at that right away, going, oh buddy, here we go, right? So here's a key indicator for this being a potential problem. Punch back. Why is he punching back? Because his widest guy is in the backfield, right? Okay, so here we have another punch back. So my widest guy is also in the backfield, all right? Anytime we have two punch backs, if I'm punching back and Eric's punching back, spidey senses start to go off, right? The hairs on the back of your neck start to tingle, right? You're going, wait a minute, let me make sure. Because it's not illegal if this guy's on the line of scrimmage, there's nothing wrong with both of those guys being in the backfield. But with this guy being in the backfield, now we got a problem.
I think it was a video that Mark that I watched, or that Mark that I was watching, and he was saying if you get two on your side, when you punch back like that.
And that's an individual mechanic that you can do. Some guys do like this. They'll actually do a double punch. Some guys will do this. So there's different ways to indicate it. Some guys will just go one and leave it. So it's kind of an individual mechanic. I don't think we even have a mechanic that says...
Yeah, that says that's what you do.
In the CFOA mechanics manual, there's nothing that says how you indicate that you have two on your side that are in the backfield. So it's kind of an individual thing. Both of these guys, I think, just go single punch.
Do y'all typically have wings want to give the other wing a signal that I've got 5?
That you've got no more than, that you've got a good formation.
No, that you have an illegal formation.
Yeah, so
I've got 5 back.
So there's an indicator that we use, and it's in the CFOA mechanics manual. It says I've got a good formation, which is a tip of the cap, just a touch right here. That means I've got a good formation. I'm looking for my partner to say the same thing. The way to indicate that I think we've got a bad formation is I'm going to start tapping my flag. So if Eric sees me and he's doing the same thing, then we both know we've both got 5 in the backfield or more than 4 in the backfield. On the snap, we're both going to throw our flags. This looks really good when both wings throw their flag, because that means, number one, we're communicating across the field and we're both paying attention. Okay? If you only get one, that's okay, but a lot of times I've got to go across to Eric and I've got to say, hey, was your widest guy on or off? And if he says he was off, I'm going to say, okay, we got an illegal formation. Because I had three guys on my side, plus the quarterback, and your guy makes 5, right? If we're both punching back and we're both doing this, there's no question, and it looks really good that we're really good sync on that. So, live ball or dead ball foul? I heard both. What is it?
Live ball.
It's live ball because why?
Yeah,
They can fix it until the ball is snapped, right? Okay. So I guarantee you at least one of you will screw that up in your first game.
Well,
because things are going fast and you're going to see that bad formation and you're going to go dweep. And I'm going to look at you as the white hat and go, what do you have? Please don't tell me it was an illegal formation. No, but we'll normally we'll just work through that. If we can blame it on something else, oh, the guy flinched. Oh, his ball started. Okay, cool. But try to remember what are live ball and what are dead ball fouls. Okay. All right. Anything else, real quick?
Is there an easy way to remember what's a live ball and what's a dead ball foul? I mean, like you had said earlier, this is like illegal formation, for example, has nothing to do with what they're doing with the ball. So live ball foul. And so I'm like, okay, is that a way?
We have slides on that. We're going to talk through that quite a bit.
Okay.
So we will definitely cover that. And I don't know that we necessarily cover every single thing, especially the dead ball, the live ball fouls, because there's a lot of them. The dead ball fouls are pretty easy to enumerate. Okay. All right. After the ready for play, all Team A players must be momentarily between the 9-yard marks before the snap. Why are we saying that? The 9-yard marks are from the sideline. You go to the numbers that are painted on the field. At the top of those, that's the 9-yard marks. Okay. So why are we saying that they have to be momentarily inside so in other words, from the top of the numbers to the middle of the field? Why?
Because you don't deceive a defensive player like you're substituting.
Right.
Or a guy just comes on the field.
Right.
And
So what they're trying to keep away from is player on the sideline, right? They say, ready, set, hunt, right? So that's deception, and they're eliminating that. Okay, so a little bit of a nuance on this. If a guy comes onto the field late, or they have a sideline conference, they break their sideline huddle for the timeout. One guy never goes, and he goes inside the numbers. He just stays out there between the numbers and the sideline, and they get lined up. If we have a defender that covers him, it's not a foul, okay? Because the whole purpose of that is to prevent deception. If the defense sees it, then we're going to forget that it ever happened, okay? So the only time we're going to call it is if there is any shenanigans going on and that defense doesn't see it, even if it wasn't intentional. If they run a huddle on the sideline for a timeout, the whole team goes over there, and he stays there, and the defense doesn't cover him, now we've got a flag on that.
And that's UNS? Falls under deceptive tactics.
Yeah, I think that actually is a 15-yard foul. I'd have to look that one up, honestly.
I think, I'll look it up and see if I can find something, but I think as far as it being deception versus, I don't know, illegal formation or something like that.
Would it be
Yeah,
just like
It-
that?
if the guy was on the sideline and he stepped on like that and then started the play, that would be deception. If he was just standing there and just never went inside, I think we'd have an illegal formation.
Would that fall under illegal substitution?
Could fall under illegal
No,
substitution.
It's an unfair act. which
No,
would
so-
be- It would be an
If there's deception involved, but
Correct.
yeah, it is. If it was unintentional, I think you have an illegal formation.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
with there's deception, it'd be an unfair
Yeah,
act.
with deception, it's, yeah, definitely.
I had a guy call this in one of my games when I was the white hat. I had a wing call this last year. Actually, it was here. Were you on the game when Monty called that? Yeah. Yeah, it was actually a really good call. Oh no, that, was it here? Oh, I think it was at Falcon High School. But anyway, in 15 years, I've seen that one time where a guy was on the side and then, and nobody covered him. Most of the time, it doesn't work in their favor. But in that game, I think it was at Falcon High School, the player actually did come onto the field and just kind of hide out. So that was deceptive, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just asking about the deception. You know, we're going to ask about the trick plays before the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, we're not going to consider those within the rules as deceptive acts. Like, one comes to mind, Cordell Stewart played back in the day. Like, with the quarterback walks over to the sideline, after he's talking to the coach and he turns up.
Yeah, if there's intent to deceive, that's an unfair act, and we're gonna flag it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So if the quarterback's standing back there to take the snap, he's like, "Coach, we got the wrong ball, snap, and all the defenders are kind of like, what's going on? That is obvious deception. They're trying to deceive the defense by doing that.
My original question was, so like a loophole I've seen around that between the nines rule is they'll like say after a huddle or something, they'll bring the guy within the nines and they'll still kind of try to sneak him off deceptively and hide him on the sideline. I've seen it done. And but I was just wondering so that's a deceptive act too, right? But it's within the rules because
So-
they're in the nines.
So if I'm inside the nines and then I go running off the field like, oh crap, I'm the 12th player, and then I go up and I stop right on the sideline like this and they snap it and I go, that could be a deceptive act because it was intentional to try and deceive the defense. So there's a little bit of judgment involved in that, but That's pretty deceptive. That's that guy trying to act like he's going off the field and then staying on the field. So,
That's we're talking about pre-snap stuff.
yep, yep. Okay, we talked about 5 players, 50 to 79. So in scrimmage kick formations, there's exceptions to that. And I'm not even going to get into the nuance of that because you're going to be mostly officiating players where you've got 79 as a wideout, you've got 33 as the guard, and because they just don't have enough uniforms to cover all the kids at the lower levels. So, but there are exceptions to the numbering rules in a scrimmage kick formation, and especially on 4th down. So, what were you going to say?
Well, I've got an answer. So this is rule 7-1. After the ready for play, each player of A who participated in the previous down and each substitute of A must have been momentarily between the 9-yard marks before the snap, which is the rule. Which then, if you go and look at the penalty for that rule, it is illegal formation.
Okay.
So it's, if you feel like it is a deceptive act, you can make that call. But if there's no deception there in your judgment, then it's just illegal formation.
So again, it's not a dead ball foul. It's an illegal formation. Okay, so it's just a flag at the snap and let the play go. I'm not even talking about the playing loose ball in the vicinity of the snapper. That's the old fumble Ruski. You kind of take the ball and set it on the ground, and the lineman picks it up and goes. But I've never seen that in any game.
No.
So we're not even going to talk about it. Even though I just did. Team B scrimmage formation rules. So it becomes important on the defensive side of the ball who is a lineman because of what rule? Blocking below the waist in the free blocking zone. Okay. So this is when we have to be concerned with who is a lineman on the defensive side of the ball. The only people that can be blocked below the waist is an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman in the free blocking zone at the snap. Okay. So they can basically line up anywhere they want. They can do any movement they want, but a disconcerting act or using their words to like simulate the offensive calls, those are all fouls. You will probably see this kind of thing at some point. This is fairly common. It usually has to do with a defensive back running up on the little freshman 80-pounder that's never played before, and that guy will come up and do like that and go like that and false start. No, that's on you, right? We're going to call the disconcerting act on the defense. It's 5-yard penalty, dead ball foul. Okay, you'll see it a lot of times also in linebackers. They'll come up and they'll try and time. If they're doing that, that is not a foul. But if they're coming up and they're just stomping, trying to get some movement, that is a foul. Okay, and you've got to be really careful. If you see that and that offensive player flinches, false starts, and you've seen that activity in the middle that caused that, we need to be really diligent about getting that on the defense and not on the offense. Okay. So the other thing you're going to hear is linebackers are going to be yelling things at their defense. Now, if a guy goes in motion and the linebacker goes motion, 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 that's okay. If he goes motion, motion, okay, that's a completely different thing. He said the same word, and I had this in Spring Park and Rec. I had a kid doing that. I said, you can't do that. He's like, what? What did I do? I'm like, well, you know what you did. Shut up.
That's why you're doing it.
Yeah. So, and they can't say words like hut. They can't say go. Right? They can't clap. A lot of quarterbacks will do that to get the snap to go. Right? So, if they're doing things that simulate what the offense is going to do as part of their normal scheme, they can't do that. Most of the time as a wing, you're probably not going to hear or see that. That's a lot of times that's the umpire. Possibly the referee is going to be the ones that are going to call that. But if you see or hear that kind of thing from the sideline, it's okay to call that as well.
That's unsportsmanlike, or?
No, it's a 5-yard disconcerting act, so it's sort of like an encroachment.
I think this is the signal delay a game.
It's, yeah, no,
That's
it's,
false.
it's.
It's the same.
Illegal
it's
procedure.
same as- Yeah, it's,
The disconcerting act was just.
No, disconcerting act, just the legal procedure.
yeah, it's this.
Signal.
It's the same as false start signal. There's a
Yes.
lot of things that this covers. That's one of them.
So if we're confused, just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when in doubt, roll it out. That's the thing. I had a guy in my first year, and he was kind of my mentor, that he taught me that, when in doubt, roll it out. I'd be like, oh, we had illegal touching. He'd go, do you know what's the signal for that? I'd be like, I don't know. He'd go, illegal touching! And nobody knew the difference, so it was good.
Ready?
So, yeah, we're good. Any other questions on that? Okay.
I guess, what about just general, like I've seen kids just like try to be really loud so that the quarterback can't be heard by the center? Is that also covered?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. If they're just trying to mess with the offense, yeah.
Okay.
Shut that down. All right, so a little bit of mechanics here. Pre-snap. There's a lot of things that go on pre-snap. You're going to learn your pre-snap routine, and hopefully everybody develops a pre-snap routine. It's one of those things where when you're first doing games like pre-snap routine, I'm just trying to figure out which direction we're going, like what is going on here. But as the game starts to slow down and things start to click a little more, you're going to get into the pre-snap routine. One of the things that we want on every snap is that you're going to indicate to the widest player, and sometimes you don't even get a guy that's wide. You'll get a tight end or something, so they're not wide. But still, you're going to indicate what your widest player is. And the signal that you're giving here is not to the player. That's to your opposite wing. If you've got a guy that's coming out and he's out a ways, you're going to indicate to that player where he should line up. Now, most of the time, kids are going to come out and they're going to what? They're going to step on the line that the ball's on, right? Is he in the neutral zone? Yes. If he's like a half a yard back from that and he leans forward, is he in the neutral zone? Yes. All right, so what we're going to do is the mechanic that we want is when the player's coming out towards you, and this is one of the reasons I talked about the 2 lines of scrimmage, right? You're going to give a foot down on the offensive line of scrimmage and say, this is your line. Okay, so you want him to line up behind your foot. All right? If you put your foot down on the defensive side of the football, on the defensive line of scrimmage, and he lines up on you, he's most likely going to be in the neutral zone. So put your foot down, give him a line, say, I got your line right here, line up on me, and then indicate to him if you've got him in the backfield or on the line of scrimmage. This is sort of a hard one for a lot of people because they want to tell the kid, you need to move up, you need to move back, you need to whatever, right? And we don't want to tell the players where they're supposed to be. What you're going to do is you're going to tell them where you have them lined up. Now, if they've been coached decently at all, they're going to come to you and they're going to say, I'm on, they're going to point, or they're going to just give you a fist and say, I'm on, or they're going to say, I'm off by their arm, okay? So if the kid comes up, he comes up to the line of scrimmage, and he's looking at you and he's going like this, you're going to say, I have you on the line of scrimmage, right? He can do with that what he wants. He can say, oh, you have me on? I need to back up, right? But we don't want to say, if he comes up and goes like this and he's on the line of scrimmage, goes like that, we don't want to say necessarily move back, or I've got, we're not going to punch you back. Now you can, especially with the younger kids, because what they're doing is they're telling you, I'm supposed to be off the line. If they're on the line, okay, we want to talk them out of that and not necessarily throw a flag the first time we see it. So you can say, I have you off, I have you on the line of scrimmage. If he doesn't know what to do with that, which most of the time he's probably not going to know what to do with that information, you've done your part, okay? Let the play run. The next time the kid comes out, say, if you want to be in the backfield, I need you to move back into the backfield. You're on the line of scrimmage, okay? And vice versa. If he's in the backfield and he's gumming up and he's going like this, going like I'm on, and you're like, no, you're 2 yards from being on, right? Don't say move up, because guess what? As soon as he does that, the ball's going to snap and you got a false start, and you caused it, okay? So if he comes up like this and goes, I'm on, and he's 2 yards in the backfield, just say, I have you off the line, I have you in the backfield. So Mark talks about not using on and off because they sound a lot alike. So I have you in the backfield, and you're going to be punching him back, okay?
I got a question, Randy.
Yep.
What if we get a kid come to the line and they don't declare?
So that'll happen a lot too, and that's why I said if they're coached decently well at all. Some of them, they won't even be coached that they need to do that. So they'll just come up and they won't even look at you. Use your voice and tell them what they are. If you've got your hand on like that saying, I'm communicating to that receiver what he is, that's not what that signal's for. That's a cruise signal to say, my guy is on the line or my guy is in the backfield. Okay, use your voices and be as loud as you can. I promise you're not going to scare anybody, but unless you just get angry, right? But you need to use your voice, and it's hard a lot of times because you're not really too sure about what's going on and whether or not you should be loud. But I will just encourage you guys, and you're going to hear me say it a lot. I said it 5,000 times at the clinic at Greeley this week with younger officials going, and one guy kept saying, you're on? Like a question. Like, are you asking him if he's on or are you telling him? He'd say, you're on? And I'd say, don't ask him a question. Tell him where you have him. I have you on the line of scrimmage. Or I have you on. Okay? Or I have you in the backfield. And say it loud enough because there's usually some space in there. If you just use a normal talking voice, they're not even going to hear you. Okay? So get used to using your voice. It's a very powerful tool on the football field.
If you're doing sub-varsity games and you're on Team A sideline, you're probably going to have a coach. You go, Coach, is 82 on or off?
You
The
can.
coach is going to know. And Sam, get in the backfield.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good point. If the offense is on your sideline, you can talk directly to the coach and say, Coach, get a look at your wideout right here for me. He thinks he's on the line. Can you coach him up here? And just work with the coaches, and that's putting money in the bank, right? Instead of throwing flags, put money in the bank. Say, Coach, he's not lining up on the line of scrimmage. He thinks he is. Can you coach him up? So the other thing that kids will do is they'll come up to you and they'll just like give you the thumbs up, like, am I okay? That's what he's asking you, am I okay? And that's not what you need to know. You need to know, do you want to be on or do you want to be off? Okay, so you can actually coach the kid that. So if he's coming out and he's going like this, go, what are you? I don't know what that means. What are you telling me? Right? And so if he's still not getting it, during, in between plays or whatever, as the kid comes out, say, I need you to tell me whether you're on with an arm forward or an arm back, and look at me and tell me what you want to be. And that is okay to coach the kid that. Just don't coach him where he's supposed to be. Okay.
Next.
Next slide. So encroachment, we've already talked about that. I don't think we need to belabor that anymore. False start is only on the offense. An illegal snap. So the snapper, once he has his hand on the ball, he can't lift it. He can't simulate anything to do with the snap. He can't twist it. He can't twitch it. He can't turn it sideways. He can't grab it, right? All those things are to simulate the snap. Most of the time, the umpire is going to call that because they're focused on that. That's one of their pre-snap keys, is watching the legality of the snap. The R is also responsible for that, but a lot of times the R cannot see the football. So puts his hand on it. In order to snap it legally, it has to be one smooth, continuous motion. Doesn't have to be between the legs. That he can't like pick the ball up and then throw it back. Okay, it's got to be one smooth, continuous motion from the ground to release it.
And like the slide here mentions, sometimes you'll see them, because something got screwed up, they'll snap the ball and everything's smooth, but they'll just hold the ball at the end as opposed to releasing it. And that's also going to be an illegal snap.
Sometimes that's just because, like, he forgot the snap count, or the quarterback forgot the snap count, and you still got the ball at the end of the snap, and they can't do that. So you're gonna have a cluster anyway. But if that's a planned thing where he goes up and he snaps and he holds the ball there, and the quarterback like runs off, and another back comes by and grabs it, that's not a legal snap. It's got to go from the snapper, one continuous motion, and he's got to release the ball. Okay? You don't see that very often. That's just like,
I've seen it a few times. What I said, I've seen it a few times.
okay.
And then, just to clarify, if he lets go of the ball, and like a quarterback went off and the ball's just on the ground, and another back comes and picks it up, is that the planned loose fumble?
No, and a back can pick that up and run with it. What can't happen is a lineman can't pick that up.
Well, no, lineman can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rule, I forget the exact wording, but the rule is like in the vicinity of the snapper. So you're thinking like within like a 1 yard circle around the snapper.
Okay.
If it's 5 yards back, it's just a live ball.
Well, yeah, I know that. I'm just talking, hey, when to snap it and just let go of the ball,
Yeah.
and it falls on the ground, it's just right behind the center. right
Yeah, if
behind
it's
the snapper.
right behind him, I guess you can make the judgment of if that's
If it's planned.
if it's a planned sort of thing, because typically like other lineman's not going to come up and grab the ball
Oh, no, no,
if it's an
no.
accident.
Say you had a wing back,
Sure.
and the wing back just came back, right behind the line real quick, picked up the ball and took off.
Yeah, I think it would look planned if they were going to do it,
Yeah.
as opposed to sort of chaotic and holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, ideally in that scenario, they're probably going to do it in the air, or he's going to just catch the snap as he's coming by.
Yeah, I understand.
They don't want the ball on the ground because who knows what happens when the ball's on the
Talking
ground.
about a fumble rooski,
That's kind of what we're talking
That's
about.
kind of what they're
Yeah.
talking about is the old fumble rooski, which is illegal on a number of levels. But, we don't need to. We already talked about only throw flags
Okay.
on your side of the field. So live ball fouls at the snap. So here you go, Lily. You ready?
Yes.
So illegal shift. So, like I said, the players breaking the huddle and coming up to the line is a shift. So if all players break the huddle, they run up to the line, they don't pause, and they snap the ball, that is an illegal shift. Could also be a false start because it's simulating the snap, but probably more technically correct, it is an illegal shift. If it was me on that, I would blow my whistle and shut it down and call false start because I don't even want that play to go. I don't want to see the touchdown that I called back for an illegal shift, right? So if there's anything goofy like that, I usually just shut it down and I'll call false start. So after leaving the huddle, everybody comes up. Everybody has to set. After taking a set position, then they can move to a new set position. So, and any number of players can do that. There's restriction on linemen doing that after they put their hand down or near the ground and things like that. But you'll hear coaches yell, "They've got 2 men in motion!" It's okay, as long as they're not doing that at the snap. 2 players can shift, 3 players can shift, the whole team can shift. As long as they don't simulate the snap, that shift can happen like that, okay? So, an illegal motion, only one teammate player can be in motion at the snap. So this is where you're going to get, like 2 guys going in motion, and if the snap happens then you've got illegal motion, okay? Also, motion towards the line of scrimmage. So a guy's going in motion, he's going sideways, and he starts to curl up before the ball snapped. That's an illegal motion penalty, or foul, okay? And which wing, and it is a wing that's going to call this, which wing is responsible for that illegal motion?
The one motion's going away from.
Okay, I heard closest, and I heard the one it's going away from.
Depends on what side of the center he's on.
Okay, so what side of the center is on? Anybody, any other thoughts?
It's your guy who starts on your side, you keep him.
Okay, so
Get him all the way down.
the motion guy is the responsibility of the official he's going away from. Doesn't matter how close he is or what side of the center he ends up on or anything else. If a guy goes in motion and you're looking at his back, he's yours. Okay, so you've got the legality of that motion that's going away from you. Okay, you can be strict on that. But again, what you're trying to determine is he gaining an advantage by what he did? So if he's just sort of angling towards the line of scrimmage while he's running and the ball's snapped and he just keeps running towards the sideline, technically he's moving towards the end line in motion, which is against the rule, right? But is he gaining an advantage? Probably not. Probably want to let that go. If he's going up and he starts to curl up like this, and the ball snapped, and then he runs an out or he runs an up pattern, something like that. Now he's gained an advantage, and you can see all that, take it in, go, yep, he gained an advantage. You can wait 2 seconds and throw your flag, because it doesn't matter when you throw it, because it's a live ball foul, right?
I have a question.
Yep.
You said wait 2 seconds. Is there so like a certain time frame where it's like you saw something and then you see something else and then you remember, like, like real quick, and then you throw your flag within like 5, 6, 7 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, I know you want us to take it in and breathe.
5, 6, 7 seconds, probably not, but 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably okay. What you don't want to do is dwell on that foul and forget what else you're doing,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't want to be going, oh, was that an illegal motion? Oh, should I throw a flag? And then some guy gets yanked down by his face mask. So you don't have to throw it right away. You can process what you saw and whether or not you got an advantage and decide to throw your flag. But anytime you throw a flag, you have to throw your flag and continue officiating. So that's why we have our flag right here. You don't have to find it in your pocket or anything else. It's right there. It's super simple to grab it and throw it. And you don't have to throw it right away. This is not basketball. So you can call fouls 3, 4, sometimes 5 seconds after something happens. The more the play has stopped and the longer you wait, the worse that's going to look. Right? So if you got a pass interference and you're sitting there thinking, oh, was that a pass? Oh, yeah. And then you go, okay, now you're going to hear it. But yeah, take that in and just make sure you're not being super particular about that motion. See if he gained an advantage by doing it. Okay, so a lineman for motion, a lineman can go in motion if he's not an interior lineman. Okay, so interior lineman is any lineman that is what?
Free blocking.
Covered by an end lineman, right? So if I'm a tackle, I can't go in motion. I can shift, but I can't go in motion as long as I haven't put my hand on the ground. So if I'm down like this, can you guys see my hand? Is it on the ground?
No.
Is it, for the intent of the rule, is it on the ground?
Yes.
Yes. If it's on or near the ground, then you can't pick it up and you can't shift after that. If I'm in this kind of a stance right here as an interior lineman, and the quarterback says shift or whatever, and I come up and I move and I go to a new position, is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So if he's a tackle, uncovered tackle, you could go in motion. then.
Even if he's covered, as long as he hasn't put his hand down, he can shift to a new position.
But
Right,
if he's
so-
uncovered,
If he's uncovered with his hand on the ground, he can go in motion.
He
Because
can,
he's,
because he's on the end
Yeah,
of the
he's-
line of scrimmage. So he's an uncovered, non-interior lineman. Yep. So if he's got number 79, he's a tackle, he's not eligible, but this doesn't have anything to do with eligibility, right? It's just, are you a lineman that's not on the interior? So if you are a lineman that's not an interior lineman, you can go in motion. If you stay in motion and the ball is snapped, does anybody know the restriction on what that is? David, wait a minute, let me see if someone else knows. Does anybody else
Say that
know?
one more time.
Say it
It has to
again.
be
So
5
if you're an end lineman and you go in motion, what's the restriction on your motion?
About 5 yards.
Okay, you have to be 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage at the snap. Is that what you were going to say? Okay, good.
Or-
So you don't see this very often.
or get set before the snap.
Or, right, so I said if you stay in motion
Yeah.
and you're in motion at the snap, then you have to be 5 yards behind the line. So
You get
as,
in the backfield and stop for 1 second, and then you go in motion.
right, and this video is going to show what's not legal. If I'm on the line and another guy steps up and I step back like this and then I go in motion,
Yeah, it's
you got to get 5 yards behind because you're still a lineman. You haven't established yourself as a back. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch that. I think that's it.
I think it's going to go through all the
It's going to go
videos
through all of them.
first.
So.
Yep, that's not legal.
So he was almost legal in a couple of ways. He was probably 3.5 yards behind the line, and he almost came set again before the ball was snapped, but he didn't. So that would be illegal motion. Okay. So again, that's a live ball foul. We're going to throw the flag. We're going to officiate the play.
I got a question before all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
The up back or personal protector, whatever you want to call it, because there's a punt. That quick flinch that he gave, that's going to be acceptable?
It could be a false start.
I mean,
Let's
that was
look
a
at it.
real jerky movement.
It's before.
He's already done it.
Yeah.
He did
He's
it
already
real
done it?
quickly before all the motion started.
Looks like
I'm
he
sure
missed
it
his
was
leg.
probably a signal for the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just shifted. I
don't see anything there.
So that's kind of what we're talking about. That lineman can go in motion, but he's either got to reset or he's got to be 5 yards deep.
Okay, so 16, when he steps off the line, if he pauses for a second before he goes in motion,
Now he's established himself as a back, and then he can go in motion and he can stay in motion while the ball's during the snap. Yep.
Yeah, so when he steps back, if he had paused here, for a second and then gone in motion, everything's legal.
and just pause there for a second, and then we can do it down as well, okay.
Yep. So he could have either paused here for a second, or he could have paused here for a second, and both would have been legal.
So the other thing you'll see two guys sort of start their shift at the same time. If they do that, and a lot of times it'll be a tackle, you'll have a wing back or something, and he'll start to go in motion, and as he goes in motion, the tackle will go down. That movement of going from being in the 2-point stance to the 3-point stance is a shift. Okay, so you've got two people that are shifting. What has to happen for that to be legal at that point?
Oh, they have to stop.
They both have to set for a second before the ball can be snapped, okay? So you might see that sometimes. Again, at the lower levels, I wouldn't be too worried about calling that because you'll probably see it a fair amount. But technically, that would be an illegal shift. All right. That was the video I wanted to see on that. So any other thoughts or questions on? So those really are, and there's another live ball foul. and it has to do with illegal substitution. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But those are the live ball fouls. So if you see illegal shift, illegal motion, or illegal formation, those are all live ball fouls. Throw your flag, officiate the play.
Is this
Okay.
legal shift?
Yeah, shift is this, motion is one. Yep.
The easiest way to remember that is the letter M comes before the letter S. So M, one arm, S, two arms. Motion and shift.
The way I remember it, and I like yours, but the way I remember it is if two guys shift at the same time,
You got two people.
yeah, I got two
Yeah, two
people, so I got
arms.
two arms. But in any way you can remember that. Okay, eligible receivers. So eligible receivers by number and position. So they have to be 0 to 49 and 80 to 99. So all the heavies are in between there, right? 50 to 79. So those are your interior linemen. So 5 players have to be numbered 50 to 79. Unless you're, in middle school or one of those, a lot of times they won't have all the legal numbers, so you gotta give some leeway there.
But not only do they have to have 550, you have to have 5 of them on the line.
They have to be on the line.
You can
Right.
have 7 that have those numbers, and 2 of them can be in the backfield.
Yep.
But you gotta have 5 on the line.
Right. So, to be an eligible receiver, you have to be in the backfield or at the end of the line of scrimmage at the snap. So you have to be a lineman at the end of the line, or you have to be a back, and you have to be numbered 0 to 49 or 80 to 99. Okay. So in the situation that David just mentioned, if you had 2 extra heavies in your formation and they were in the backfield, they would not be eligible by number, even though they're eligible by position. So you have to be eligible by number and position. Okay? So if you've got 5 heavies and you got a team of 11, how many eligible receivers do you have? Quick math. You got 6, right? 2 guys at the end of the lines and 4 backs. So that's the total number of eligible receivers that you can have. Ineligible players may not advance beyond the expanded neutral zone, so we're giving them an extra 2 yards by the expanded neutral zone so they can continue their blocking before a legal forward pass that crosses the neutral zone is in flight. So that's kind of a mouthful, but really what that boils down to is if you have a pass that does not go beyond the line of scrimmage, you don't have ineligibles downfield. What else can't you have if you have a pass that doesn't cross the line of scrimmage? You cannot have pass interference at all. You can't have OPI or DPI. You can't have pass interference on a pass that doesn't cross the line of scrimmage. Okay, so wings, you play a big role in determining whether there's pass interference on balls that are close to the line of scrimmage. Where do you see that kind of play a lot? Screen passes, right? So, you'll get, especially on the types of screens that they run these days, they'll run slip screens and wide receiver screens, all that kind of stuff. And they'll have 2 or 3 guys out wide, and those guys will go downfield and block. Guy slips out and they'll pass it out here, and those guys are downfield blocking, right? So what you have to be cognizant of as a wing is, number 1, I had blocking downfield by the offense before a pass was thrown. As long as that pass stays behind the line of scrimmage and it's caught behind the line of scrimmage, then I'm forgetting all that blocking that was going on. As soon as that pass goes beyond the line of scrimmage, and I've already made a mental note, I had blockers downfield, then I see the pass go past the line of scrimmage, now I'm throwing my flag, right? Because now I've got pass interference. They may be ineligibles, but they were definitely blocking downfield on a pass that went past the neutral zone. So this is really critical in the whole passing game. You can't have pass interference and you can't have ineligibles on a pass that doesn't go beyond the line of scrimmage. Neutral zone, the defensive line of scrimmage, right?
Can I add 2 things?
Yep.
So first, it's good for when you be able to get this. The primary responsibility for this is going to be the umpire. Because the umpire's responsibility is to get to the line of scrimmage on a pass play and kind of read where the ball went. But number 2, let's say we've got like a middle screen and you've got the lineman beyond the 2 yards, and then we have a throw that goes over the receiver's head and goes beyond the neutral zone. Are we going to call ineligible receivers downfield on that?
Incomplete pass, correct?
It's an incomplete pass, but the ball crossed the neutral zone, and we had ineligible receivers downfield.
I would say
No?
no.
Why no?
Because I feel like them being ineligible receivers down the field, the ball was incomplete for 1, so 2, or I might got it backwards. I want to say they didn't have a chance. It was a ill-advised throw, so they didn't have a chance at the ball. So in one part, they couldn't have been a receiver to catch the ball. Does that make sense? Or,
Sure. I mean, so you're right. So we wouldn't call. This is actually more of an art of officiating thing, where even though it fits the entire criteria of the rule to have a flag on this, it's not the intent of the action
That's what I was trying to say.
for them to have this result. So we're going to ignore the fact that that ball crossed the
If he
neutral
had
zone.
caught the ball, it wouldn't have gone beyond the neutral zone. So we're going to say that the ball didn't go beyond the neutral zone.
Now, I will say, just because it's incomplete necessarily, if you have a totally different play and you've got a lineman 5 yards downfield and they throw the ball deep, just because it's incomplete, we're still going to have an ineligible receiver downfield on that.
That's because he's fucking way down there in the ball.
Well, they're still just, and it doesn't have to do with what they were attempting to do. So in this, they were attempting to run a legal play, and it didn't work out. Whereas the other situation, they didn't really attempt to run a legal play.
I got it.
Yeah.
It gets tough because, like, say you have an eligible receiver in the area, but you know they're down there blocking this screen, and it's like hits their feet. And it's
Sure.
like-
So high school is going to be different at this than probably college and NFL. And this is something that's primarily going to be the referee's call, but this is, our interpretation is more of it's a judgment thing, as opposed to just a receiver being in the area. Is he attempting to complete the pass? And if you've got an eligible receiver blocking and he throws it at the feet of that guy, he's not attempting to complete that pass. So,
Yeah, we're getting into
it's getting into stuff that we're not really important, but
intentional grounding.
but that's something that's different than college and NFL. In our situation, we would probably
The
call
main
it.
thing I want to get across to everybody is that if a pass is completed behind the line of scrimmage, you can't have interference, and you can't have ineligibles downfield, all right? And I'll go back on what Tim said, because he said primary responsibility for whether or not there's ineligibles downfield is on the umpire. And I will say that as a wing, I've probably called it as much as the umpires in my games. Because a lot of times they get screened, they get blocked, and they can't even get to the line of scrimmage. And a lot of times they'll come up to the line of scrimmage and guys will go behind them and they don't even see them. And as a wing, I'm going to stay at the line of scrimmage as long as I can. And if it's a screen pass, guess what? I'm never going downfield. And if you're going to hear me say anything to you in these scrimmages, and if you hear me coaching you as an official, you're going to want to start leaking downfield early. And I'm going to say, stay put. It's for things like this that we want to stay at the line of scrimmage. All the action's going to happen right here. Being downfield does us no advantage, and it puts us in danger. Because once you get beyond the play and they're coming this way, guess what's coming your way? 800 pounds of angry teenager, right? You don't want to be on the downfield side of 800 pounds of angry teenager. You want to be on this side of it and let it all pass in front of you and then chase it down from behind, okay? So stay at the line of scrimmage for safety, and stay at the line of scrimmage for things like this. Okay? Hi, Brad.
Hello, Randy, how are you?
Good.
Figures it'd be fast.
Of course.
All right.
See you Friday.
All right.
Next slide.
Yes. Do you guys want to see any video of examples of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, back it up and let's see a couple of those videos. Okay, back it up and let's look at it again.
I think he had a legal formation.
Okay, so stop it.
Yeah.
Get it right at the beginning and stop it. So there's a couple of really interesting things going on right here. One is the point is that the pass is completed beyond the line of or behind the line of scrimmage. So this guy that goes out and blocks, that's not pass interference, because the pass is complete. It's a legal forward pass caught behind the line of scrimmage. So this block downfield doesn't matter. Okay. Now there's a question of, I heard David say it. What'd you say?
Legal formation, you got 5 in the backfield.
So they either have 5 in the backfield or this guy is covered. Right? He's an interior lineman. If this guy's on the line and this guy's on the line, I don't think we see him signal what his wide guy is, but it looks to me like those two guys are either on the line and this guy's in the backfield. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because this is a lineman. Is he breaking the waist of the snapper? No. So this play is kind of a cluster from the beginning. So they've got more problems than that. But the illustration is that, go ahead and run this, let this run a little bit, Tim, and then stop it again. Just drag it. So this guy goes down and blocks. See that? If that pass is beyond the line of scrimmage, that's offensive pass interference. Okay, but because the pass was caught behind the line of scrimmage, that is not a foul. There's all kinds of other problems with this thing, but that's an illustration of pass caught behind the line of scrimmage. That's not pass interference.
You see a flag at the bottom of the screen too.
And it probably is an illegal formation call. Okay.
Is that an eligible receiver?
No, he's not an eligible receiver because he was covered. Either that or he was in the backfield and they had too many backs, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, there's all kinds of problems with this play. And this was, from what Mark told me, they ran this play all game long and it was never called. So.
Josh, do you?
Yeah, so just a quick question on do we flag picks, offensive picks?
Yep. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for guys that go down and they're blocking downfield and then that pass goes beyond the line of scrimmage.
Because you got to be contact.
So the wing, and we'll talk a little bit about keys, but we've talked about keys, but you're watching your key to make sure that if he goes down and he does something like that you see it. If you don't watch your key, a lot of times you'll miss that kind of activity, okay? So let's go to the next video. Okay. So, legal formation or not? 1, 2, 3, 4. If this guy's on, then we're good in terms of formation. Okay, so who's eligible? This guy out here eligible? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can. It's different than college.
Okay, so this guy's eligible. It's perfectly legal to throw a pass out of a scrimmage kick formation. Okay, so this guy right here is the question.
Yeah, he was covered.
Yeah, but the fact that he's covered is he's going to be.
Whether he's eligible or not, he goes down and he blocks this player.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a little bit hard to see because he's right on the edge, but I actually watched this game and saw this, and the coach told him they were going to run this play. And he said, we're going to run this play the first time we get in a punt formation. Don't screw it up. So that was the coach trying to intimidate the official, and the official that was on this sideline is a 25, 30-year official with multiple state championships. And he got in his head, and he saw this, and he didn't call it. But this guy comes down, whether he's eligible or not. I think he is.
I don't think he is. It's the snapper.
He might be interior.
No, it's the snapper.
Okay, he's a snapper, so he goes down.
He's ineligible by position.
He's ineligible by position, so he's ineligible, and then he goes down and blocks. And it's a little bit hard to see the block, but he picks that guy off. He hits that guy right there and blocks him.
I don't think the block matters in this. This is an ineligible downfield.
Yeah.
No, the block would matter because it'd be.
Well, but I don't think he's blocking him. He's running by him because he thinks it's a punt. That's the reality.
No, he knew it was a play.
I don't think so. I think
It's hard to see on this, but he actually did go down and block him, and it's hard to see on that film. But he screens that guy enough to where he can't get out there. But anyway, there's multiple problems with this.
Josh had a good point, and I think I'm correct on this, that you can have DPI on a fake punt that they throw a sky-high pass to a wideout. Is that correct?
Yeah,
sure,
Okay.
any pass out of any formation.
Because
as long as it crosses
in
the neutral zone.
NCAA, it's not.
Okay, I don't know the NCAA rule, but yeah. Anyway, that's an example of. Okay, so now we've got a play where the whether or not the ball is beyond the line of scrimmage when it's caught is going to determine whether big boy over here or big boys over here are ineligible downfield. So where are we snapping from?
The 10.
The 11.
We'll just call it the 11, okay? And he's definitely supposed to be behind the line when he catches it because it's a screen pass. Where does he catch the ball?
Like you said, 12.
12, 13-yard line. Okay, so they screwed this play up. The intent was for him to be behind the line, but he catches it at the 12 or 13-yard line. See big boy here?
Mm-hmm.
See our umpire? See why I tell Wings to watch this? Because the umpire, number one, didn't get to the line of scrimmage. Number two, on a play this quick, he's not going to get to the line of scrimmage. There's no way. This is way too fast of a play unless you're Tim Ferks for the umpire to get to the line of scrimmage. Because Tim would get to the line of scrimmage.
I would have gone there.
Because Tim would have known they were going to do it.
Yep.
But this is a really good example of if you're a wing and you're standing right on the line of scrimmage and this play happens and you see number 77 coming downfield and you say, oh, there's a heavy downfield, and then you see the pass and you say, oh, that ball was caught beyond the line of scrimmage, ineligible downfield. If you don't call that this is not going to get called because the umpire didn't see it. The umpire can't really see it. No other official can see this.
And Dominic, you're talking about how long to throw a flag. This is one where it could be the play's over with, and then you can throw the flag and it'll be acceptable because you get with your wing to find out, was that pass beyond the line of scrimmage?
And I would probably, if you're in doubt, I would throw the flag.
Yeah.
And then you can come together and ask your umpire, hey, was that beyond the line of scrimmage? He'll go, hell, I don't know, I never got there. And then you can maybe ask your opposite wing, do you think that pass was caught beyond the line of scrimmage? If you say, yeah, that was definitely caught beyond the line of scrimmage, then you go ahead and enforce it. If the guy on the other side says, man, it was really close, I think it was right at the line of scrimmage. Okay, cool. Take your flag up, wave it off.
Yeah, just in terms of optics, it's a lot easier to pick up a flag than it is to throw a late flag.
Throw a late flag. Okay. All right, let's move on. Question?
When you say When you say screen play, are you talking about screen pass?
Yep. All right, defensive pass interference. Interference is probably the hardest call. I think it's the hardest calls on the field, just because there's so much action and there's always contact, and it's always sort of a mess. So these are really hard to get, and I think these have to scream more than any other foul in order to call it. Because if you get too ticky-tack on this, it's kind of like holding. You could probably call pass interference on a lot of things. Most of the time it's not. It's just two guys that have equal opportunity to get to the ball, right? So defensive pass interference, and this is labeled defensive pass interference, and then all of a sudden we talk about any A or B player who is beyond the neutral zone interferes with an eligible opponent's opportunity to move forward, catch, or about to pass. So that's really the definition of pass interference, and it applies to both teams, right? But defensive pass interference, there's a number of things that you're going to look for in order to call pass interference on the defense. So if I run into a player that's getting ready to catch the ball hasn't gotten there, and I hit him, and I'm not trying to catch the ball, okay, that's pass interference. All right, if I run through a player from behind, even if I'm trying to get to the ball, and I run through him to try and reach over him to grab the ball, that's pass interference, okay? So that's playing through the player. On a cutoff, so let's say I run kind of a hook, I'm standing there like this, and a guy runs me over trying to catch the ball. That can be, he's got a right to try and catch the ball too. So you got to be a little bit careful on those. Arm bar, this is one where you're going to see a guy go up one-handed to catch the ball, and you're like, why did he do that? Does he think he's Terrell Owens or what? No, the defender had his arm down like this. He had him arm barred, right? So they run down the field. Guy gets his arm stuck down like this, and he can only reach up with one hand. So that can be a real key to picking up. You see a guy go up with one hand, and he can't get the other hand up there. Hook and turn. So a guy goes to catch a ball, and someone grabs from behind, and he goes over like this, and he pulls, okay? So if I've got my arm around a player and I go in front like this and swat the ball, I'm okay. But if I go behind him, I've got him, and I turn him like this and I pull and I swat, then I've taken his opportunity to catch the ball away, okay? And then the grab and restrict, so I'm running by, I've run by the defender, and he grabs a hold of me or restricts me in some way. That's the grab and restrict. So those are kind of ways to categorize the things that you're going to look for pass interference. Most of the time you're going to get two guys that are in the same relative spot on the field. They're going to both jump for the ball, they're going to hit each other, and they're going to be trying to catch it. That is not a foul, okay? They both have equal opportunity to try and catch the ball. And they both can try and gain position to catch the ball on the field. So you just have to be a little bit careful with that, but those are kind of the ways to categorize what things you're looking for. Okay, this you've heard about. Mark Bradley loves Ray Lutz. He's one of our old-time mentors. He's passed away, but this is him right here, and he thinks this is pass interference. See how long he fishes for his flag? It's because he kept it in his back pocket. Don't keep your flag in the back pocket. But he thinks this is pass interference. I would respectfully disagree.
I'd pass.
Because both players are looking back for the ball. They both have equal opportunity to catch that. So I don't even know who you would call that on.
Yeah.
I mean, is that OPI or D? I don't know who he called it on. But man, I would stay away from that one. You got both guys looking back for the ball, trying to make a legitimate opportunity to catch it. Just stay away from that. Okay, offensive pass interference. So the defensive pass interference rules start when? What?
On the snap.
Crosses to
On the snap, no.
After it goes downfield.
No.
Balls passed line of scrimmage. There has to be
No.
pass thrown to an eligible receiver.
No.
Once the ball's left the hand.
No, defensive pass interference starts when? When do their restrictions start?
Ball in flight.
Ball in flight. Ball leaves the passer's hand. That's when pass interference on the defense starts. Okay? So anything I do to a receiver as a defender before the ball is thrown is not pass interference because it hasn't become a pass yet. Okay? So it's going to be holding or some other foul. Okay? Now, offensive pass interference starts when? I heard a lot of the right answer on that one.
Is it pass?
It starts at the snap.
Yeah.
So as soon as the ball snaps, because the offense knows it's pass, right? The defense doesn't know it's a pass until the ball's thrown. Because the offense knows it's a pass. So if there's interference with any eligible receiver on the defense, who's eligible to receive a pass on the defense?
Everybody.
Everybody. Okay? So any interference with any player on B to move towards, catch a pass, bat a pass, anything is offensive pass interference. So you can't run down and block somebody, anybody on the defense if the ball ultimately gets thrown where? Beyond the line of scrimmage, right? So that's kind of what you're looking for. Most offensive pass interferences aren't downfield, balls in flight, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes that is. Most of your OPIs are going to be guys going downfield and blocking. Either blocking a guy and it's supposed to be a screen pass, or I'm going down and I'm setting a pick and I do this, right? Because I'm supposed to be faking like I'm running my pass route, but I actually go out and I chicken wing a guy to pick him off, right? So we're looking for that kind of activity. That is OPI, because even if the ball hasn't been thrown yet, the offensive restrictions start at the snap. Okay? I see some puzzled looks.
OPI, how closely are you looking at the push-offs?
Oh, very closely. Yeah. So that's another one that you'll see a lot is push, and you'll get separation. You get that push off, or running downfield. I'm running here, defender's here, and I'll put my arm out, and I'll create separation, right? So that's a lot of what OPI looks like.
Yeah, so Randy's demonstrating it, but you're looking for an extended arm.
Extended arm.
So if it's not extended, but he's got contact with the defender, probably nothing. But as soon as you get that extension.
Most of the time, you're going to have both guys with their hands on each other. So you're looking for that extension and that separation.
Randy?
Yep.
On DPI, do we have catchable, uncatchable?
No. So you guys hear that question? So at the higher levels, there's an uncatchable ball that says it doesn't matter if there was pass interference if the ball wasn't catchable. That is not a high school rule. However, you got to use some common sense, right? If the quarterback throws the ball and it's 10 yards over the receiver's head and he gets hit by the defender right on the sideline, is that pass interference? By rule, yes. By the art of officiating, there's no way in heck he was going to catch that, so let's stay away from that. Again, did he gain an advantage? No, because the pass was not catchable. So by rule, yes, that's pass interference. By common sense, it's not pass interference because he didn't prevent the receiver from catching the ball.
Be something else to use to fix it.
Yeah.
So if it was an uncatchable ball and he plows into the receiver though, wouldn't that be a personal foul?
It could be something else, yeah, absolutely. It could be a personal foul, but it's not pass interference. And they both have the same penalty, so it's either way.
And similarly, if they're throwing to a different receiver, but you have the criteria of, pass interference on a different receiver, it's still not pass interference because he's not interfering with the attempt of the pass.
Yeah. Ball thrown to the right, pass interference on the left side of the field, leave it alone. It's not pass interference. It could be something else. It could be holding, it could be illegal use of hands, it could be giving him the business, right? It could be a lot of things, but it's not pass interference if the ball's thrown to the opposite side of the field, right? So offensive pass interference categories, like we just talked about, shoving or pushing off, that's where we'll see a lot of OPIs. Driving through a defender, again, if the defender has position, that offensive player can't plow into him any more than the defender can. This is the one you're probably going to see most of the time is blocking downfield. There's a lot of that. And then picking off a defender. That one can be hard because a guy can run across the middle and run a pass pattern. It's kind of that, did I move out of my pass pattern in order to get in this guy's way? Right.
Videos?
Sure, let's watch one or two. What'd you see?
Extended arm, pushed him down.
See that push? See that extended arm? So, what do we got here? We got a wing that's back here. Is he going to see that? Maybe, but he's probably straight lined. Okay? Because he may have this player's body in between and he doesn't see that arm extension. In a five-man mechanic, this guy right here has probably got the highest probability of seeing that. If you don't have a back judge, that wing is all by himself and he's trying to figure out, did their feet just get tangled up or did he push him off? So that's, those can be tough, but with a back judge it makes it a lot easier. In 7-man, like David's used to, it's a lot easier to get these because you have more angles on this
You
one.
have a deep wing that's standing right there.
Yeah, you'd have a guy standing right here looking at that. It's a lot easier with that. Okay, next. That was a great catch, though.
Yeah, 24 is blocking out.
Okay, so this is another example, right? This pass was probably supposed to be thrown behind the line of scrimmage. This guy out here is blocking, passes beyond the line of scrimmage. So we need to get that. And actually a flag comes from the back judge on this block right here, but that's the wrong one to call.
This is just me, but I'm going to tell you, 8 times out of 10, when you see a player do this, they're guilty.
They've done something to say, I didn't do it. Okay. All right, let's talk some fouls. Unsportsmanlike conduct. So the reason that we make this distinction is because unsportsmanlike conduct is a serious foul to call. And a lot of times they are confused with personal fouls. So if I walk up to a kid and he just called me a MFer, right? And then I slap him on the head, right? What do we have in terms of fouls?
You got a UNS.
We got an unsportsmanlike for the what? For which one?
The language.
For the language.
And just
The guy that hauled off and smacked him in the face.
Fine.
Okay, that could be fighting, but if I just kind of throw and I hit him in the head, right? Or I grab him and I throw him to the ground, all right? Do we have a second unsportsmanlike on that guy? No, it's a personal foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct fouls are always non-contact. You can't have contact and have an unsportsmanlike conduct. Even though it's unsportsmanlike behavior, it's not an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Why is that distinction important?
Ejections.
Ejections, so if a player or a coach gets 2 unsportsmanlike conducts in a game, they're ejected. Okay? So be really careful when you see a kid get just demolished or slapped or shoved in the head or whatever. You're going to want to say that was unsportsmanlike behavior, which it is, but it's not an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Okay? And this happens every year. We get 4 or 5 ejections on a player that one of the fouls, one or both fouls were not unsportsmanlike, they were personal fouls. So we got to be careful with this, okay?
Can you eject someone for a personal foul?
Can you eject someone for a personal foul? What do you think?
Flagrant.
What if a player has 5 personal fouls in a game? Can you eject him?
No.
What if he has 10?
No.
He's a dirty player. Yeah, there is no limit on the number of personal fouls. So where you can eject a player is if you deem a personal foul to be flagrant. So if we're mixing it up and I grab a player by the face mask and I just pull him down to the ground and I yank him down, that can be a flagrant personal foul. It's not unsportsmanlike, but you can still eject a player for that flagrant personal foul. And I've thrown kids out for doing that. He's got 3 or 4 personal fouls, before in the game, and then he does that one. I'm like, you're gone. You're done.
Is that when you throw your hat?
No, we don't ever throw our hat in high school football. There's never a mechanic that we're going to throw our hat. It's always going to be a penalty flag.
They're a beanbag?
Huh?
They're a beanbag, no?
No. Okay, so unsportsmanlike fouls, we're going to have taunting acts or words. So if you're running down the sideline with you're going for a touchdown and you turn around and show the guy the ball, right? That is an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. If you get into the end zone and you spike it, that's an unsportsmanlike conduct. If you do a backflip, when you get in the end zone, if you are running down the field, there's no one around you, and you jump. You do a somersault into the end zone. That's an unsportsmanlike conduct. Okay? Profanity, insulting, vulgar words. We already talked about that. So excessive, prolonged acts to draw attention. So if you get up, you made a nice tackle, you get up and you give the guy one of those. You flex over him, unsportsmanlike. Okay? If you're walking away from somebody and you're just jawing, blah, 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 blah. It depends on what they're saying, but you can throw an unsportsmanlike on that. What I would do on that is I would say, hey, enough. Go back to your sideline. Because if we threw an unsportsmanlike for every time we heard a cuss word, we have problems.
Before we leave the taunting, so we got the ball carrier. No one around him. He's going for a touchdown. He's on the 5-yard line. He starts high step. We got a flag. It's a live ball penalty. I think I looked this up and I may have misinterpreted it. We go back to the previous spot and mark it off from there.
No, and it's not on this. It's not on this one, but there is the unsportsmanlike fouls like that are treated as dead ball
Live ball
fouls.
treated as dead ball.
Yes.
So the score.
Non-player fouls and unsportsmanlike fouls are treated as dead balls. So we'll let the touchdown stand, and then we'll enforce after the touchdown. So then the
Team B coach has
the team that was scored on has the opportunity to choose enforcement on the try or the kickoff, the succeeding kickoff.
Yeah. What did Mark say about racial slurs too? I can't remember.
So racial slurs, those are unsportsmanlike and automatic ejection.
If directed at the other team.
If
they're talking to their own teammates, it's just an unsportsmanlike.
It's just unsportsmanlike. So, and that's a zero tolerance. There is no, hey, you do that again, you're gone. No.
Unless it's a player that's saying that to his own teammate, but in a hostile, aggressive manner, would you give him out then?
If it's in his own team, I would just throw the unsportsmanlike.
They'll let coach deal with it.
It's an automatic ejection if it's directed at another player, a player of the opposite team. I suppose it would be a coach as well. If it's directed at somebody on the opposite team, then it is an automatic ejection. You don't have to get two of those. And so the one that's obviously drawn the most attention is the N-word, and that's the one you'll hear a lot. But you will also hear, things like spick and beaner and cracker. So there are racial slurs that go beyond black people, right? And so don't just think it's just that one, because I've heard all of that. Right, you get down to some of these towns down in southern Colorado, and there's a high Hispanic population, and you'll get a lot of that. So just be aware that you hear anything like that, it's automatic. Okay. So there are times when guys will do spontaneous celebrations. So I'm running in the end zone. If I hold the ball up, that's not a foul. If I'm doing that at another player and I'm putting it in his face, that's a completely different thing. If I go in and I point up, I'm pointing up to Jesus, that is not a foul. If I make a good run and I get up and I'm like, yeah, first down, I would say, hey, don't do that, right?
Tone it down.
Don't do that. You can't celebrate like that. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Right, but if he's like in another player's face, first down, right? Okay, that's a completely different thing, right? That's taunting. You're going to throw a flag on that.
Okay, I got a question about a relatively new one. So that.
I don't know what that means. I probably.
Well, so they usually do it for a first down. They'll go like this and then point for a first down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going to be. Am I taunting the other team? Am I showboating? Or am I just excited on the play?
The reason why I'm saying is because I know in the NCAA this past spring, that in particular they said is not going to be acceptable.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things coming up like any sort of weapon. So if I do this, that's a symbol of, hey, I'm packing, right? If I'm doing this, right, that's a bow and arrow, it's a weapon. So all those kinds of things they're picking up from guys on TV. All that stuff, we've got to nail that. Okay. But you sort of have to again use some common sense on: is a guy just excited about the play he just made, or is he trying to showboat? Is he trying to taunt the other player? All right.
Where does spinning the ball fall in that?
Unsportsmanlike.
That's an unsportsmanlike. And
Even if it's away from everybody.
I've called it both ways.
Yeah,
but
I have two, and I was just.
Yeah.
It just seems weird that.
Yeah.
I would say.
It's not really aimed at somebody.
Yeah, I'd say generally that's going to be an unsportsmanlike. As this says, it's a brief, spontaneous reaction. That's not as brief. That's not as spontaneous. So generally, that's going to be an unsportsmanlike.
So the other thing, if you get guys that all sit down on the sideline and they row their boat, right? They're all going to get an unsportsmanlike, but you only enforce one of those. So you're not going to go, 15 times 6, and that's an enforcement. So personal contact fouls, charging in a player obviously out of the play. We can watch video on that, but I think you know what we're talking about. Play ends, a guy's standing around kind of watching, whistles are blown, boom, the guy gets blown up. Even if the whistles haven't blown, play's dead, kid's just standing there, gets blown up, that's a late hit. We're gonna flag that every single time. We're not gonna say, don't do that. That safety fouls, we are gonna nail every single time.
Trailing the play, head hunting, and call those.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There is no leeway in my book. I mean, even if it's questionable as to whether or not he could stop, I've seen kids stop in amazing fashion when they want to. Usually when they pile on, even if it's pretty quick after a play, I'm going to nail it. Because I don't want that to set the precedent for the rest of my game.
About safety.
Yep, it's about safety, and it's about I don't want Guys doing that, well, they let him do it, right? I want to end that right away. Piling on players on the ground. That video right there is at the end of a play at Pine Creek. Quarterback goes down, he's down for probably half a second. It wasn't very long. Player comes and jumps on top of him. Big dude. Nobody calls a foul. And the coach just comes unglued. I think he's got every right to come unglued. We have got to stop that kind of activity.
Does that include players from like the same team?
Well, unless he just really doesn't like the guy, he tripped or something like that.
It'd be like excessive celebration then, if it's from their own team.
If it's their own team, yeah. See that right there?
Defensive players.
He knew that ball wasn't caught. He didn't have to hit him. Are you going to show the Pine Creek one?
Yeah, that's where I thought I was going to, but I missed it too far.
So the quarterback runs the ball.
Oh, yeah. I saw him.
See, there wasn't much time there, but he goes down, puts his shoulder in that guy on the ground. That is a flag 100% of the time.
He could have jumped over him. He could have did anything.
He could have missed him by a mile.
A lot of things other than put his shoulder into him.
Yep, that is absolutely intentional. So we need to nail that foul right there every single time. All right.
So on the game card that we're doing, we're just recording the unsportsmen's?
Yes.
That's the only
On
Yes.
a varsity.
Yeah, on a varsity game.
Report, yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, unsportsmanlike, you're going to record at Subversity also. It's just not going to go in a game report.
Oh,
Just-
yeah, you want to record all unsportsmanlike.
That's what we're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that video, I think I remember Mark talking about how the quarterback gets up and he kind of spikes the ball.
Yep.
And he said, I'm leaving that alone.
Yeah, because he was actually hurt, and he ended up limping off. But yeah, that was
That's a
a
spike
major.
that you just let go.
That was a major miss. Yeah, and you do not want to flag that spike.
Rub that one in.
You will not get out of the
That
stadium if
teammate
you flag
coach
that
is going
spike.
to really lose his mind.
Yep. All right, offensive holding. So I think Lily and I were talking about this, or maybe Sarah. We were talking about offensive holding and what are, if you read the rule book, you just kind of look, you're like, what did I just read? You're like, that is crazy. So don't get too wrapped up in the rules associated with holding, all right? Because if you try and figure out, is it closed fist, or are the hands, in advance of the elbow, are they inside the blocker's frame, blah, 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 blah.
45-degree angle.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, there's no way. So what we're going to look for is demonstrated restriction, all right? Demonstrated restriction means that the defender tries to get away and I don't let him, all right? Ron, can you step up here for me again? This may be one of the most overcalled fouls in the sport. I know it is in the NFL, but even with us, if I'm blocking him and I've got him like this, and we're chest to chest, am I holding him? By rule, am I holding him? Yes. I am not holding him. If I drive him this way, straight on like this, and I've got him like this, am I holding? No.
You're two-stepping.
All right. If I push him to the ground and I've got him like that, and I just overpower him and I drive him to the ground, is that holding? No. Okay?
Lay on top of it.
So, yeah. Now, if I've got him like this and I'm beat, and he's outside my frame and he's trying to go this way, right, and I'm restricting him, so you're looking for twisting, you're looking for turning, you're looking for him trying to get away and he can't, right? That's restriction that we're looking for in order to have a hold, okay? And it can look like that grab right there. It can look like this kind of a thing where I'm grabbing him and I'm pulling him down. Those are a little more obvious. Sometimes you'll get a wrap. So you'll get a wrap around a guy like this, and he's trying to get away, and I won't let him. So look for body angles. Look for body angles. What the lineman should be doing if I'm going to block this guy is try and go to one side or the other. I should be staying here with him. As long as I'm square with him, no matter what I'm doing to his jersey, that's not holding. Once he gets outside of me and he's like this, and I do that, and you see that dip, okay, that's when you're gonna call a hold. And he can have that, he can actually have that legal hold for a long time, and then at the very end, the guy tries to get away and he grabs him, play goes right here, okay? Now we've got a hold, all right? So, thank you. Demonstrated restriction is one of the criteria for you to throw that flag. Coaches are going to want holding every time he's got a hold of his jersey. That's holding, that's holding! No, it's not. No, and just say, Coach, I don't see demonstrated restriction. That's it. I don't see demonstrated restriction. At the point of attack. So if I'm doing that to Ron over here on the right side of the thing and the play goes that way, okay, I'm going to leave it alone because it's not at the point of attack. Okay? And it impacts the play. Now if I'm doing that to a linebacker that's downfield and I'm holding him and the play goes way out there, now is that potentially impacting the play? It can be, because if I hadn't held him, that linebacker could have gone down and made a tackle downfield. Okay? So there's a little bit of, again, you don't have to throw your flag right away. You see it, you see the play develop, you go, man, if that guy hadn't held him, that linebacker would have been there. Boom. Throw it. But for the most part, when you're well away from the play, we want to be really careful with those holding calls.
Well, I think the best example of an impacting the play is like if you have a guard hold a defensive tackle and then a linebacker comes through and blows up the running back with the ball and they get a 2-yard loss. We have still had that holding, but it didn't impact the play because the linebacker came through and blew up the play.
Yep. Okay, double teams. If you got a double team, unless the guy just gets yanked down by the face mask, don't call anything. Because if you got a double team, that guy's not going to make a play anyways. All right.
What's the double team?
2 players on one, so 2 guys blocking a single player. If the runner goes down behind the line of scrimmage, don't throw the flag on a hold, because the play resulted in a loss anyway. That hold obviously didn't impact the play because he got tackled for a loss. Okay. Now, I grab a guy and I throw him down on top of his head, that's a different story. That's not holding. That's a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Okay. All right.
Do you want the videos?
No, we're kind of running out of time. All right, defensive holding. The defender restricts the receiver before the pass is in flight. So again, until the pass is thrown, there's no defensive pass interference, right? So restricting a receiver before the pass is in flight.
There's no bump and run, right? Like jamming up on the line, none of that?
They can, as long as the offensive player is in position to still be a blocker. Then they can make contact, and they can do that all the way down the field. There's no 5-yard zone that they can block in like in the NFL.
The way I'd like to phrase it is technically there's not, but you're allowed to block until you know that the player is a receiver. Yeah. So if they're lined up on top of each other, they can have that jostling. But as soon as A has shown that they're a receiver, you can't have that anymore.
Because again, the defense doesn't know it's pass. So if I'm going down and I'm blocking him, he can block me back. If I do this and I make a move like that, right, I'm running a pass pattern, a linebacker can't come up and blow me up just because I'm in the 5-yard chuck zone or whatever, right? Because that's what they're going to throw at you. He's in the 5-yard chuck zone. No, he's no longer a potential blocker. So defensive holding. Let's see. So that would be an illegal block or a unnecessary roughness, more than holding.
Yeah, just imagine like a pass interference call before the ball's in the flight.
Yeah.
That's typically going to be
so holding. If you think because of a hold, quarterback's looking this way and there's a hold back here, I don't have anything initially, then the quarterback goes here and he tries to throw that guy that was being held. Now I can throw my flag for a holding on a play that was initially going to the other side.
Or the defensive lineman like holding an offensive lineman so the linebacker can get through.
Yeah.
That'd be another one.
All right.
And
Next.
that's 10 yards.
Yes.
Yes.
Holding is holding.
All holdings are 10. Okay, blindside block. This is one we want to get every single time. And we tend to miss a lot of these just because there's only 4 or 5 of us on the field. But these are vicious blocks, and we need to get these. Forceful contact, that means that the opponent is knocked to the ground. So if I hit a kid and he didn't see it coming, and I don't hit him hard enough to knock him to the ground, that doesn't meet the definition of a blindside block. So the defender cannot see the block coming. That's the wording cannot and does not are 2 sort of different things. So if you say he cannot see it coming, that's saying that I've got to judge some angle at which his head was where he could have seen it coming, right? But if I'm looking this way and I can see it on my peripheral vision like this, I can see that coming. Am I gonna see it coming? No, because my focus is here, right? So you get into this angle argument on, can you see it coming? It's does he see it coming? What's the indicator that he doesn't see it coming?
He doesn't defend himself.
The first thing that hits is the back of his head, right? He gets flipped. If there's any kind of flinch or protection, then he saw it. If he doesn't do that and he just, boop, the feet go out, okay, then that means he didn't see it coming. And the blocker does not initiate with the hands. So they left a provision in this to where if I'm a blocker and a guy's coming at me and I'm going to block him, see you, Lily, and I get my hands out like this to block him, it doesn't matter how hard I hit him, I can still knock him to the ground, right? He doesn't have to see it coming, but as long as I've got my hands out, then it's a legal block because the interpretation is that I can't hit him hard enough to do real damage to the coconut, right? If I'm leading with the hands, right? So it becomes questionable, and Tim and I have different philosophies on this. But if a kid hits right here with his chest and his head, and then he extends his arms, did he lead with his hands?
No.
In my opinion, most of the time, I don't think so. Tim has a much more liberal. He doesn't think so. But so there's a question. You'll see a blindside block, and then a guy will extend his arms. Read the body language of the guy that got blocked and see if he got flipped. Most of the time, it's not going to be the hands out. But if they're coached up right, the coaches are going to tell them, if you see a guy coming and he doesn't see you, just get here and do like a basketball pick. Don't blow him up, okay? So, but these are heinous fouls, and we've got to get these. Show a video of that. We're over time, so we're gonna have to end. But so this play's gonna start this way, and then it's gonna come back and go the other direction. So this is boom. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right
that
here.
Was a dead ball too, huh?
Yeah, because he hit the ground.
So the quarterback,
This is incomplete
boom.
pass.
It should have been blown dead.
Why would it be blown dead?
Because it hit the ground.
He's saying an incomplete forward
Oh,
pass.
incomplete. So it's probably ruled a backwards pass.
And it was not.
Yeah.
So if it had been ruled a backwards pass, then that bad foul never would have happened.
Oh, I know, it's still a foul.
Yeah, he got
It's just not a blindside block. It's a late hit.
Yeah, assuming the whistles are blown. So anyway, that's what a blindside block looks like, and we've got to make sure that they don't have the hands out in order to make that legal. What else we got? We've got lots of. Okay, horse collar tackle. This is different in the NFL and the NCAA. Okay, in the NFL, if you grab here and the guy keeps going, that's a horse collar tackle. In high school, it has to be inside the collar, on the back or the side, and the player has to go to the ground. And he has to go sideways or backwards.
Or the nameplate.
Or the nameplate area. So you don't, they changed that a couple years ago. If you just grab high on the shirt and you grab up here and the guy does this, that's a horse collar, okay, but he has to go to the ground, and it has to be the sole block of one player. If I've got a hold of a guy like this, and another guy comes in and basically takes him to the ground, then it's not a horse collar, all right? But that's another one that we really want to get. Where it gets tricky is when I go like this, and the guy spins, and he actually goes forward. When in doubt, what are you going to do?
Roll it out.
When in doubt, call a horse collar tackle, because everybody else thinks it's a horse collar anyway. Nobody's going to argue with you. Okay? Chop block, simultaneous high-low, so you get a lineman that comes out high, another one that goes low. That we want to try and get those.
It doesn't have to be 2 linemen, it could be a back.
It could be, but
Yeah.
more
It's-
than likely, if it's a back, it's going to be an illegal block below the waist
Yeah,
before it's chop block.
It could be anyone on the field, but it's usually a mistake in the blocking. Or
The only-
they each block the same guy when they're not supposed to.
The
That's
only way that can be
reality.
legal is if it's by a lineman in the free blocking zone.
Yeah.
So if it's a back, it really can't be, it would be blocking below the waist if it wasn't a chop block by a back.
But is blocking below the waist,
What's-
it's 15, or is it
But-
10?
It's 15.
They're both 15,
Yeah.
either way.
Okay.
All right, where are we in this whole scheme of this thing?
There's a lot.
19.
19 of 32.
Okay. So most of the rest of this is in penalty administration, so I wasn't going to cover a lot of this anyway. Rule enforcement. So let's just go slide 20. That's the last.
Of Rule 9.
Yeah. So illegal batting. So this is a ball, a loose ball. A player can't bat the ball. Like if it's rolling toward the sideline, a player can't bat it to keep it in bounds. You're not going to see a whole lot of batting, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Hurdling, you may see this. This happens more at the high levels in high school, but you'll sort of know hurdling when you see it, but you would probably not call it because you're like, holy crap, that was really cool. But basically, if a player is in a position, without a hand on the ground, well, the only thing touching the ground are his feet,
Yeah.
and he's not down parallel to the ground, a player can't jump over him, and what that means is you can't lead with your knee or your feet to go over. If you jump head first, you can go over somebody, like if you're going into the end zone or just to gain another yard, you can go head first. That's not hurdling. Hurdling is going feet first or knee first over a player that's not on the ground. Okay?
Does that count if, like the Saquon Barkley, if you're jumping backwards? Is that fine?
No. Yeah, you can't go feet first
Yeah.
over a player in any direction.
It's all about the cleat being first.
Yeah.
So if the butt's going first,
Going
that's
first.
legal.
Yeah, okay.
Because he's Saquon Barkley. You're not going to call it. So go forward 2 slides. Foul philosophy. We are not the penalty police. I don't like this. Mark loves that saying. I hate it because we really are the penalty police. We are the enforcers of the rules for the game of football. What we don't want to be are penalty Nazis, okay, or penalty tyrants, where we are calling every foul that we see, and we're just by the book, by the book, by the book. If you think about, a police officer, if they're going to stop you for an infraction, what are you hoping they're going to do?
Warning.
You're hoping they're going to give you a warning, right? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But there's a likelihood that police officer is going to let you off with a warning, right? And he's got his own reasons for doing that. So we have to use some common sense, just like a police officer does in a situation like that, where we decide, is this really impacting? Is it dangerous? Those kinds of things. So be a penalty police, but don't feel like you've got to call every single little thing, because it's just obnoxious. If that makes sense. So 4th grade versus 8th grade, high school, you're not gonna do any 4th grade, but at the lower levels, you're gonna let more pass. Call elephants and not ants, okay? Make the fouls that you call big. If you call every single little thing, it's gonna get out of control. Don't throw the flag out of your coverage area unless it's a safety foul. And then we're gonna call all safety fouls. Don't coach the players. That's about all I want to cover on that. So that's going to be it for training. Friday, I hope to see a lot of you at the scrimmage. Let me see what Scott said.
How long is the scrimmage?
It's 2 hours for the sub-varsity and then 2 hours for the varsity. So if you stay for the whole thing, you could be there from like 9 to probably 1. And you don't have to stay for all of that. You can stay for any part of that you want. But you know, the more snaps you see, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah, Randy, you can send the invites.
I cannot, but let's see what Scott said.
Yeah. Yeah, she was on vacation.
Go figure. Okay, I think you may get an invite. Have you seen an invite?